have you been, mate?
Yeah, not been good. It's been good, Ty. Yeah, we were first meeting back before we start pre-season. So it's probably the latest I've ever started back pre-season, but I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, 'cause your championship season starts early as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, so I don't know why they managed to cram more games in than Super League and in such a short period of time. So yeah, we start the back end of January with cup games.
Yeah.
Right. But this is the latest I've ever started. We're starting pre-season next week, and we've got our first pre-season friendly 10th of January for QLT's testimonial.
Okay, so you'll have a pretty tight 5.5, 6 weeks, mate. Yeah.
Pre-season, Christmas in between. It's going to be a tough one, but yeah, short pre-season, which will either go one way or the other, I guess.
It is, mate. Plus, for people that'll know you're on the socials, mate, you've been training anyway, haven't you? You've been doing your hill running and things with Tyler and people like that, haven't you?
Yeah, we put a little run club together with the lads. So we put a run club together, and of course, I'm local lad, so I live in Brighouse in West Yorkshire. Right. Tyler Dupree played at the same amateur club as me, Siddal. But he played with my cousin, actually, a good number of years below me. And we just linked up, started. There's a place in Bradford that I go to, 606. It's like a bit of a high rocks gym. I went last pre-season, I absolutely loved it. Just that different way of training, different way of like lifting weights, but moving and being functional as well, with the fitness tied in. I just really enjoyed it. So I've just been sticking at that, and it's helped with keeping on top of weight, but as well keeping fit and moving while you're training.
Yeah. Is that something like clubs in college championship in below? So would you be able to go and compete in a high rocks thing, or?
I don't know. Probably not. No, because we're training every other day. But I'd love to have a crack at one. But it's gone away from. I remember when I first started, everyone wanted to get as big as you can, get as strong as you can. The days are gone now where your middles are mobile. You've got 13s that can play 80 minutes doing 60 plus tackles. It's the game's changed.
Well, it has, mate. So we'll go right back to the start now, then, mate. So where was home for a young Ollie, and where was it?
So a bit like you mentioned yourself. So my first ever encounter with rugby was rugby union. I played at an amateur club, Old Brodleians, which were in Brighouse. So that's when I first started there. Believe it or not, I actually attended private school when I was a kid.
You posh kid.
I had the cap, the briefcase, the everything.
Was it proper? Yeah.
Oh, proper gig. Yeah, shorts, socks pulled up, shoes, you name it. If I can dig a photo out, I'll try to find one. But yeah, and then I got into rugby union. I played that for a good number of years, but it was before rugby union rules kind of came in. So when it was junior stuff, it's more you'd offload while standing and similar-ish to rugby league. I kind of fell out of it. I got into boxing. I was doing boxing non-stop on some evenings, and I'd be like, prefer to go boxing other than rugby. A gym in Cleckheaton, and an old guy called Gary Sykes used to run it. Paul Tate and Gary Sykes were like his big name that trained out there. I think he's won some belts or Yorkshire belts and stuff. And I had an option.
It's still good, that, mate, isn't it? Because it's an hard sport to get to the elite at, isn't it?
Yeah. And I enjoyed it, but I don't know. And then it kind of gave me an option what to do. So now I was going to quit rugby, so I'd fell out of it. I was going to stop. And my cousin said to me, "Why don't you come and have a go at Siddal? It's a rugby league club that I'm at." He goes, "Just come have a training session. You'll keep fit, and you can do some bits." So I turned up to training session, and the coach was ex-Bradford player John Amer, Bradford Northern man, probably one of the roughest coaches I've ever had. But they were 2 years above myself, so I was training with them, but I couldn't play. So I was going training and really enjoying it. I remember one night at training, my mum had taken me. So my mum were pretty soft. Anything happens to a boy, it's just a bit of modelly cuddling. They don't want to wreck your pretty face. I'd banged my head, and there were a bit of blood coming down back. And she goes, "Oh, what's he done? What's he done?" And John pulled me over. He looked, and I had a pretty decent gash in my head. He went, "Nah, don't worry, love. He won't bleed out. Carry on. He's got 2 more people to wrestle." So I'd finished wrestling. I got caked in mud. He picked me up like the back of my shirt. He went, "Yeah, time to go in A&E now." He just sent me off from my mum. So I caught back in my head up, and then I had to go. I got it all glued back up and whatnot. So yeah, it did put me off. I loved it. So then I ended up falling into my own age bracket then, 2 years below. Loved it. The coach there were a guy called Dilwyn Lewis, old school rugby league player. He had hands like shovels. You messed around, you got clipped it back at head. And a bit like you said earlier, you were all cards. Everyone got lined up, shows your cards, your name, put your hand up. And like you're saying, you'd bump into some players. Ex-Oldham player, Emerson Whittle, were in my age group. He had a beard like I've never seen before. And I went, how's he got that? I didn't even know it was a thing yet. And like you said,
eating bonbons and he's lifting weights.
I don't know what's going on. I'm having my sweets and he's having a cigarette outside at field. What's
going on? A funky smelling one as well, isn't it?
I know. I remember playing over at Hull. Another lad at my age, Bobby Tyson. He must have been 6'6". I'm like, what's that? Where? How's he got that big? It was just unbelievable. So yeah, we're at Siddal. Came through, and then again, like you said, worked my way through the ranks, and it was service area. So I played for Calderdale Service area. So I managed to get picked up for service area, which were Calderdale. We played Kirklees. We had a really decent team. Our rivalry was King Cross. So the likes of Alex Miller that's playing now, they were our rival club. There was an ex-player called Will Milne that were really good. Adam Brook. And that were the rival in Halifax, Siddal v King Cross, who were the two best teams.
Because Gaz Wizard played for Old Brodleians, didn't he? They knocked my team out in the National Cup before COVID then.
Yes. And then he went to, where did he go? Gaz Wizard. So he were at Halifax, he played at King Cross, and then he ended up going to Australia, and of course went through system over there and made it. So, going from there, but I didn't really get picked up quite early. So I went service area and stuff, and lads were getting scouted by your Bradford Bulls, lads were going to Leeds and stuff, and I wasn't really getting picked up. So I didn't really, I was like gutted, to be fair, like everyone else is getting picked up.
They bother you, mate,
beginning of the season, it was like, it's soul destroying. Like you bust yourself, you think you're going well, and you're just getting overlooked. Played at service area, played in every game, played well. Got picked for the Yorkshire camp, played in that, but didn't make the cut really. But about halfway through the season, Salford came, watched one of the games. I remember the scout Chris Coop. He was a scout for Salford, and he invited myself and another teammate of mine, Edwin Akanga, over to Salford, and loved it. So we were training over there, part of their scholarship system we'd signed on. So I think back then it was like you join the scholarship under 15s, you train, and then you'd have like 6 games at the end of the season. So you play like your Wigans, your Warringtons, and so on. So yeah, it was really good to be fair. So I played for Salford that time. So I remember how it used to happen. You used to get a letter from the RFL. So it'd come a letter through post from RFL, and it'd declare what club were interested in you. So in the first year, all I had was Salford. Gone away, came back, got my second letter for the second year, and I had about 6 or 7 clubs on there. So I had a really good season, played well. Went had a look round Warrington, Bradford, there were Castle, Hull FC. So we were decent, to be fair, but I decided to stay at Salford. I really enjoyed it. Alan Hunt was the head of youth at the time there. Real good guy. But of course, I was still playing at Siddal at this time. Okay. So we'd gone into under 16s playing at Siddal. I think we'd won the Yorkshire Cup as well as that age group. So it were a big achievement that year for us. Played for Salford. In the games at the end of the season, it basically came down to who was going to offer academy contracts out then. So I'd done the full system again at Salford. We got the letter again from the RFL who was going to offer you an academy contract. So I went and had a look round. From then, I had, again, Bradford came through, Salford, Warrington, Hull FC, and I think it was Wakefield. So I'd gone round and looked at all these clubs. I took my uncle with me. He was quite a big influence because my cousin at the time, Joby Murphy, was at Bradford.
Okay.
So he was at Bradford, and I kind of, they'd talked to me through him, and would he be interested in coming here and stuff. So I'd gone to look around all the other clubs, met Hull FC in Brighouse, and I remember thinking, I was like 16-year-old, proper mummy's boy living at home. They're like, oh yeah, well, you'd move over to Hull and live in one of our no chance. No chance. Not happening. But really grateful that like the setup at the time was mega at Hull FC. But I'd looked around and I'd basically in my head I'd narrowed it down to either Bradford, or Salford. So I went and had a chat with Salford and sat down with them, and I took my uncle, God rest him, he just passed away about 6 months ago, but he was proper wheeler dealer, like Jim Murphy, his name was. And sat down, and before I'd even said anything, he hadn't even passed me a contract, he went, this is when you're a kid. He goes, if this has not got 10 grand in it, there's no point in me even signing. I think everyone was getting offered 3 grand and stuff, and I looked and I thought to myself, oh God, what has he done? What has he done? And to be fair to him, they said, we don't even have lads full time on 10 grand. We'd have to bring him straight full time, but let's make a phone call. I think he went out. Alan went outside, made some calls and whatnot. I think they'd come back at like 8.5. But this was still to be in the academy and look at training at some full time sessions. He just went, no, forget about it. And he just stood up, and I thought, what's he doing? Well, you don't even know what I want to do yet. What's he doing? So at this time, Salford had got all the plans out. So this is before they'd even built AJ Bell.
Oh.
So they showed up plans. This is where Salford are going. This is what they projected. This is what they want to do. He just went, yeah, honestly, it's not built now, so there's no point talking to us about it, is there? So yeah, we're going to go have a chat with Bradford and we'll be in touch. I thought, oh my God. And he left. He went, don't worry, they'll be swaying about it.
What a fella.
He went, don't worry, I've done it plenty of times. I said, you've never done a rugby contract ever in your entire life. He went, yeah, it's the same as selling an horse or a car, isn't it?
Do you know what? It probably ain't far off it, is it?
No.
So straight away, he's at the front, Yanni. And
yeah.
They have come back with an offer, even though what he said.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's just knowing how to say things, not necessarily what to say, just how to say it, mate. But it's class. But that's what it's about, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's like, fans think you should just play because it's what you want to do.
No,
Where you've got bills to pay, mate. You've got a life to live, and the sacrifices you do.
It was down to my mum as well. Bless her, she was working 2 jobs at the time because she got divorced when I was 10. She had a nursing home before. So that's probably why I went to private school, because she could afford whatever she wanted.
All right, okay.
When they got divorced, my mum and dad split, and my mum, she was terrified of going on motorway. Mum had never drove up motorway, and she had to start driving to take me to Salford. So more like I owe my career to my mum. I would be where I am today if it wasn't for her and what she's done for me to get me where I am. So driving back from Salford, he went, right, we're going to go meet Bradford now. I thought, my mum's not called him. Jim must have sorted it. He sorted this. So I get to Bradford. And to this day, I am 99% sure he got a backhander for me to sign at Bradford, because my cousin had just signed a new deal the same day when we went. And he went, he wouldn't let me leave the building until I'd signed.
Oh, it was your mum is forcing.
Yeah, I can't do it more way no more. Getting to Bradford. To be fair, it was 15 minutes away from my house. I got there to the stadium. I got there to the training hub at Tom. I'd met Paul Medley, Stu Barrow. They were the 2 head of youths at the time, and they just sold it to me. Just when I got there, it was a proper family environment. Loved it. Jim went in with Spiel again, but there were a little less negotiation. That's what made me think, hold on a minute, this is definitely been pre-negotiated.
Semi-done, yeah.
I'll take him to Salford. I'll drag him over here, get your pen and paper out.
Yeah.
Stu Duffy, who was head of all contracts at the time at Bradford, basically had my deal there waiting for me. He said, if you want to join the club, this is what direction we're going in. It sounded brilliant. Bradford, as a kid, it was my dream to play for Bradford Bulls. Everyone wanted to play for Bradford Bulls when the 2005, even 2003, when they were the Kings. They were just unbelievable. I'd been to watch them. Prior to that, it was just brilliant. So I didn't leave the room. Jim said, right, sign at Bradford. He negotiated the money, and it was decent money for what I got as a young lad. And he did it for me, so I sorted that out, signed at Bradford.
Good stuff, mate. So going back a little bit then, the private school, mate, was you changing sports ever a problem there? Because a lot of private schools play rugby union as part of like a scholarship, don't they, mate? So
but I think my mum was paying. She was paying for us, so there were
so it didn't matter.
They weren't bothered. And at the time I'd left the private school, so I'd gone to mainstream school. So I'd gone from there to a mainstream school, but of course when she got divorced and stuff, and that led on to that. So yeah, there were no real knock-on effect from schools with the rugby and so on. And even
did the transition go? Sorry, Ollie, go on, mate.
No, yeah, weird. To be fair, I suffer with really bad dyslexia, so reading and writing and stuff for me is a no-go. So when I were at private school, they classed me as a lazy child. Like,
also didn't even run any tests or nothing, mate.
Didn't run no test, didn't pick up anything. They classed me like, oh, he's got a bit of behaviour issues. He's a bit of a lazy, but he's not willing to learn. My mum kind of delved deeper into it, paid for a diagnosis, and found out I was quite severely dyslexic. So that I had the support when I went to mainstream school, which were brilliant, and then that kind of led on to me going on to high school. Hated school. School was my bugbear. Hated it. Couldn't go. Didn't want to go. Bad anxiety around school. I couldn't tell you why, because I had the best mate group you could ever think of.
But sometimes not enough, mate, is it? It's a difficult thing. Yeah.
You couldn't have paid me to go. But like I said, my uncle, bit of a wheeler dude, so my granddad, bless him, and he'd be out, he'd be like, listen, we're going up to Horses today. You can go to school, if you can go to Horses, take your pick. So I'm like, we're going to Horses.
An option, but it was, mate.
So we're out at different auctions, different things. Every day I was doing something different with him. So over school were a no-brainer. But through school,
you're learning stuff that just aren't in textbook as well, pal, aren't you? You're learning
life skills, picking up some life skills. We're doing rugby in the background were brilliant. So at Bradford, I think I'd only been at Bradford maybe 6 to 8 months. So I'd started in the pre-season. Lee Beattie, who's now the assistant coach at Midlands, he was the kit man at Bradford at the time, and I'd gone from the academy full time. I think I'd been there about 6 or 8 months. Me and Joby both went full time. Another lad, Curtis Norton, and Sam Wood. They were the lads to go full time at Bradford, and it was such an eye opener, but an unbelievable part of my life. Going full time at rugby was my dream. It was the dream side. I think I'd signed a 3-year deal, so like a generic, all three of us got the same deal, 3 years full time. Unbelievable. We'd just the fact of training with the people at Bradford at the time, you like Shane Walker, Nick Scruton, there were Brett Kearney there. There were some unbelievable people, and to train and play alongside them and learn from them was an eye opener. But also trying to tackle Chev Walker in training was, he was one of them players. If he went soft on you, it probably hurt more than what it went hard on you. Like, he wouldn't even mean to. But when he trained all out. And if you capped an elbow or something, you knew about it.
So be it. Yeah. So do you know when you're going through the levels, Ollie, do you notice a step up every time? So from like school to like the Lancashire, Yorkshire stuff that you were involved in, and then scholarship to academy, do you feel that growth?
Yeah. There's definitely a change. You can. It's more the skill set that changes. There's some
like executions on it.
The physical stuff. So my age group were the likes of George Williams, Ryan Hampshire, Lewis Tierney. They were the three guns, if you should say. They were in the Wigan stuff, and I remember playing against them for Bradford Academy against Wigan's Academy, and I was like, what are these things? Like, they had abs, they had everything, you name it. They were like little universal soldiers. That George Williams could kick like he can do now. He'd put the ball on a 10-pence piece. The best I've ever seen. He single-handedly tore the academy apart every time we played him. But so you can tell and you can spot someone a mile off that's going to make it and do well.
You do definitely see that, mate, growing up, don't you? You do spot, like, there's levels in there, and when you know where you're at and you see that someone that's that bit better here at that time, you do think there's something's got to happen for them not to crack it.
Yeah, and that's it. And a lot of people, the likes, but there's other ways. So Tyler Dupree, so I helped coach a little bit Tyler because he was in my cousin's year at Siddal, and he went about the harder way. So he was always a bigger, stronger lad, but I wouldn't say he was the most skillful. And he's had to go the long way around. So he made it to an academy.
Yeah.
But then he was released by Leeds. They said they didn't want him no more. So he did a little bit of full time. This is you haven't really made the cut. So he had to go full circle. So I think he went to Oldham on loan at the time. or Batley. Played some games there. Ended up signing at Swinton, playing a couple of games there, and he killed it. He'd started to blossom because as a middle, he'd matured a little bit later. Of course, Salford picked him up, and he was just a gun. Absolutely killed it for Salford, which has then led on to the Wigan contract and playing for.
That's it. He come to Widnes for a bit, mate. He was head and shoulders, wasn't he? And that's when Salford sort of like nitpicked him, because effectively the Championship is a breeding ground, mate, innit? And it's definitely should be some catchment there for them late developers, pal, shouldn't there?
Yeah. Definitely. Like I said, we'll probably go into it later on. It's just how hard it is for lads that are working to get that happy life and get that happy medium. I've seen so many lads come through academies when I've been full time at clubs, come through academies, and they get to a point where they go, do I go full time on $6,000, or do I go to a Spark electrician course and get paid $22,000, have a career for the rest of my life, and play part time rugby and pick up 10, 12 grand.
Yeah,
so it's how much are you willing to sacrifice and how much do you love rugby to do it. Because
I'll be honest, before I'd done this, mate, I didn't get that. I was a bit like the typical fan, because I've hit a certain ceiling at my ability, and like you think everyone should just want to play a Super League, and everyone's on a certain amount, and they're definitely not.
No.
And
Yeah,
until I've done this, that's that. Yeah, and then like you said, you'll probably touch on it, but you're coming from where you live to Salford sometimes.
Yeah,
which isn't a tenner in the tank, is it?
No.
And then you've got to do all that, and then you've got to weigh out what you're making, what you're spending out, and then you can only go away at certain times of the year. And with the way forms are now, you can't even have a piss up in peace.
No, you can't. You can't do anything. So it's changing, and it is tough. But yeah, so I forgot. I'll come back to Bradford. So yeah, I loved it. So Franny Cummins was my coach at the time at Bradford. So Mick Potter had just left. Franny Cummins and Lee St Hilaire were the two coaches, and I absolutely loved it. Franny were an unbelievable coach, especially for young lads coming through. His man management and the way he spoke and supported young players were second to none for me, really, especially with Lee St Hilaire. Him in your ear, giving you some tips, advice. It was second to none. And I remember playing the pre-season friendlies. I think we'd had Cass and Hull FC, and I got a game in both of them in the pre-season friendlies. A taste of playing against men, Super League teams. Loved it. So started back row. That was my position, and they played a little bit in middle. It was unbelievable. But then, of course, when the season started, dropped back into the reserves, 21s or whatever it were called at the time, and played that. 21s were a weird standard because you'd have like a couple of guys that weren't playing first team would drop down, and usually they'd play before the first team game. Yeah. So whoever were playing, say Bradford and Hull KI were playing, that when the fans were getting into the stadium, that game would be on. So they'd have a pre-watch of what's coming through the system, what's on the fringes of the first team, or you might have someone that used to be a regular that's coming back from injury playing. Yeah. And which were a good standard of rugby. And it got you ready physically for, again, playing against men, which is what I needed. So I think I made my debut for Bradford at 17. I think my first game was St Helens away in their new stadium.
An easy one then, yeah.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Yeah, it were an eye-opener. I think I got the last 20 minutes. But yeah, loved it. Absolutely loved it. Came on at back row. Just tried my best. Carried as hard as I could. Tackled as hard as I could. Got turned inside out by Jordan Turner a couple of times. But it is what it is. I was a young kid at the time, and I remember Heath Lestrange. I remember I could hear him in my ear. I ran on field, came on, and we were defending. And he went, "Whatever you do today, make sure you do it with a smile on your face," and just slapped me outside the head. Cheers, pal.
You know what? It's not a bad bit of advice, but I imagine, mate, as like a young man, which I don't know whether you felt you were ready or not, but it probably finished like that, didn't it?
Yeah.
Adrenaline must have just been up there. You're playing, waving against people you probably watched on telly for a few years. The crowd's pretty big.
Oh, it was unbelievable. Yeah, unbelievable. The crowd and the atmosphere, like I'd seen it, I'd been at games, but it's nothing compared to being out there on field. And like I said, if you could bottle up that feeling as you're stood on sideline holding your card, ready to go on as your debut, that feeling of the anxiety, the fear, the excitement, you could say it's 20 emotions all bottled up and just shook up into one. Yeah. But when you go out there, I think it's how you control and what you do with it is where you progress from there. But yeah, it's an unbelievable experience and feeling.
And that's your biggest lesson, that, Ollie, right? How to control that. Because at a certain level, I don't think you need coaching anymore, mate. On a big scale, we always need lessons and like the way the game changes, like you said, like when Maguire brought the wrestling, didn't he? That's when like the year changed and all that, and we need to alter things to keep up with the better teams at doing it. But is it really about how you control yourself in situations rather than your rugby?
100%. It's all down to that. You can be hot-headed. It could be anything. But a lot of them, I think the one that I struggled with, and again, this was Franny Cummins that kind of knocked out me, was an error. If you made an error, the guilt that I would feel, that I'd felt like I'd put the team under pressure, or if I'd knocked on or something like I'd failed and let everyone down. But the likes of Heath Strange, listen, don't worry about it. We're all going to do one. I want you to speak up, do something now to fix it. So I think getting that and being able to switch off after an error is probably one of the toughest but most important lessons, because if you carry that heavy burden into your next tackle, into your next carry, or you're always on edge, then you can't have that. If you make an error, it's got to go. It's got to go, and it's what you do next. But
you don't want to double up an error with an error, do you, or like a penalty and things.
No. Classic example, my cousin Joby, bless him. He'd probably laugh if he'd seen this, but he made his debut against Castleford live on Sky Sports. Couldn't have been any better. Unbelievable, buzzing for him. Came on at 13. Came on, first carry. He were old school. He loved the old school type of rugby. First carry, bang, elbowed someone in face, give penalty away with the ball. His first tackle, he tackled someone, give a penalty away. His third involvement.
That's what the people know he's doing, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's just putting this out there. His first involvement, he'd carried and settled on the try line, and he'd got up and played the ball, and someone at marker must have shoved him, so he'd shoved the marker, and the 9 scooted and scored. Disallowed the try because he pushed him at marker. We're like, all right, that's how to ruin a debut.
that's a potential career ruiner sometimes, mate. Yeah, depending what your coach is like.
Yeah, he was a bit of a wild man. He based himself on how tough he could be and what challenges he could do. Yeah, unfortunately, due to injuries and stuff, he didn't. He played a good number of games at Bradford. He ended up moving to Dewsbury then under Glenn Morrison and playing a couple of games. But again, he found the struggle of work, commitment, and life to rugby. He couldn't find the balance, and he decided with injury and stuff to move on. Because again, if you're a working lad and you get injured playing part-time rugby, you can't do one and you can't do the other. It's a double bubble. So if you're on like maybe call like $6,000 a year from rugby, but your win pays are 300. So that might be where you get your money and your win pays.
Yeah.
But if you're not playing to get win pays and you can't work and get paid, you're getting $6,000 a year and you might have a mortgage and 2 kids.
Exactly.
And I think people that do lower league rugby do it because they love it, because it's not for the money.
No.
It's not for the money. You might have your couple of anomalies that will be on decent cash and because to sustain it, but it's not.
Yeah, there's not a lot of them teams, mate. That outside. To be fair, a lot of the teams in the top flight are living right on the border, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So
when you're like Bradford, Ollie, do you feel the history and the expectation there?
When I played at Bradford, yes. I remember my first game at Odsall, and I was blown away. Like going out of that pitch when it was ball boy, they used to have the doors would smoke, ball boy would come out, there was someone flying around on a go-kart. It was just unbelievable. And when I played and made my debut, that's when Bradford still had quite a decent number of fans. So being part of that and in that era were unbelievable. Probably the best game I'd ever seen at Bradford. We're probably going to what happened now. So I'd been picked up by England, so I'd made it to England Academy. We'd gone away to France, so we'd played in France. And Bradford, I think we got the news that Bradford had gone into administration. So like, don't really affect us. I was really a kid at the time, so we're at Bradford. I think my first year full time. So they were going into administration. So it was a rocky patch for them. Come back, and that's when Leeds Rhinos played against Bradford at Odsal, and they said whatever money or whatever ticket sales will be donated to Bradford. I've never seen the stadium as full. It was absolutely unbelievable. So all Leeds fans, I think there were fans from different clubs had come just to pay tribute and put some money into Bradford to try and support them. But yeah, unbelievable. The stadium, and I didn't play in that game, of course. I was only young, but watching that game and wishing I was part of it was something special. That stadium full is everyone's just down on top of it. It's unbelievable.
So you've probably been exposed to the business side a lot earlier than you'd really want to be, haven't you?
Yeah.
Which is the dark side of rugby, mate, really.
Yeah. And again, I've had some unbelievable owners of clubs that have willing to, let's say, throw money away, because rugby league's not profitable business. They're doing it because they love the sport and they've got passion. I take my hat off to Ken Davey. So, of course, I work with Ken Davey. The amount of money that Ken has put into rugby league itself and spent at the clubs is absolutely phenomenal. Probably the longest reigning chairman, and how he got into it from his late wife, Jennifer, that sadly passed away. But Ken owned the football and used to write a cheque just to clear the rugby's debt, just because he could. And then Jennifer, why don't we just buy the rugby instead of clearing? They want you to get the rugby. So he then took that, and that was for his wife, and she had the passion more than Ken. And then that's what bred Ken into it, and then he's kept her legacy going and kept putting in money in. But yeah, so back to Bradford. Yeah, unbelievable. Yeah. But yeah, back to Bradford. So they'd gone into administration. That's when then Omar Khan bought them. So he'd saved them, come in, he'd saved them. So like, all right, we're sweet here. I'd actually, a bit of a weird one. So I was the first young player to ever turn down England Academy. So I'd been picked out of nowhere. I didn't think I was going to get picked. So I'd been playing for Bradford. I'd been in the first team. John Bateman got picked. So when they did a test series in Australia, so they're going to Australia for the month to play over there for England. I think it doing classes under 18s. At the time, I had the bad anxieties, the fear of flying, being away from home. I couldn't have thought of anything worse. And I remember thinking I'd love to get picked, but I don't want to get picked, so I don't want to go. It'd been easier to not get picked. So I played quite well, and it was down. I'd got a phone call. My phone rung when I was at home one day, and it was Stu Barrow, and he was the head of England at the time. And I was like, oh my God. Like my stomach just sunk. I thought, oh God, he's going to pick me, and I'm going to have to go to Australia.
How mad are feelings that to think, oh, he's going to pick me, and like shit in it, basically.
Yeah. I was like, oh shit. So I answered phone. He said, Ollie, congratulations, and you've been picked to go with England. We're going to Australia to play schoolboys. John Bateman's also been picked, your mate from Bradford. So I'm sure I'm getting a room in together. Kind of laughed it off. I was kind of like, yeah, cheers, Paul. I'll speak to you later. I put phone off. I must have cried. I'm like, oh my God, I'm not going to Australia. I'm not going on a flight. Anxiety just through the roof. I was like, nah. Got home, my mum was buzzing. She's like, you've been picked for England. What more do you want? Like, this is the pinnacle. Like, it's your dream. So what, going to Australia? My dream. I said, you're off your head. No chance.
Want a home tour?
Yeah, no chances. They can come here if they want, but I'm not going there. Yeah. 24 hours on a flight? You've got no chance, Mum. No chance. So she rung Stu. She said, well, come have a sit down with you. And I went and seen him and said, yeah, I can't do that. I said, I'm so grateful, but I can't do that. So Stu said, mate, you'd be the first person ever. He goes, you're off your head. When you're about to turn down England and a trip for a month in Australia free, he went, this will send your name through the roof. But if you decline it, it could destroy you. Like, what are you doing? And I was like, I couldn't care. I'd quit rugby tomorrow instead of going there. That was the mindset I had. I'd just fully gone. So he said, listen, fair play to you. He went, if you don't want to come, you don't have to. Don't beat yourself up about it. And pulled out. So yes, I'm not going. So I thanked him and declined the offer. And Pete Aspinall, young lad that were at Huddersfield, he went instead of me. So Pete went. Bradford was shocked. So when I spoke to Franny and spoke to everyone, they were like, what are you doing? Why? What? I said, mate, not for me. I said, not for me.
Yeah.
And they were like, listen, fair enough. And some of the lads that were full-time knew what my anxieties and stuff were like, because of course Joby had spoke to them and stuff, and Chev Walker and that Ian Tibbett at the time when he were there. So listen, don't worry about it. It is what it is. He said, you don't want to go, you don't have to go. But
it never will define you either, will it? So
no, I might as well be the first to doing something instead of part of everyone else going. I might as well be the odd one out,
Anna. But again, as a young lad, mate, that must have been, you've said to yourself, like the way you sort of, you didn't say cast aside, that's what I'll say, like as a student in private school, only heightens all them feelings you had at school anyway, because they've been dismissed. And then them confrontational situations, which don't have to be aggressive or they're still confrontational, won't suit you at all.
No, not at all. Like I said, I don't mind having them, but it's when I go away and I think about it, I'm like, oh shit. But like I said, like everyone else getting that phone call, I'd have been sat by the phone, like buzzing, like, please ring me, please ring me. I were there like, please ring me and pick me, but then I were like, oh, don't ring me, do not pick me, don't pick me. And I'm like, oh shit.
So what were you like in new environments, mate?
Terrible.
So when it comes,
terrible.
Was you?
Anxiety and stuff. Listen, I could make mates with anyone. I could make mates with a shadow and talk to anyone now. But I think that's only because I've come through what I used to be like. Yeah. The anxieties and stuff.
There's some growth though, mate, in it. Like, do you get time to look at yourself and think that is some growth?
From what I was, and probably I'll get into it further down the story, but from where I was and what I was like in my life to where I am now, I'm a different human. And to look back, would I change it? No. Because I am today who I am, and I know what I know now from being that person. So could stuff have been different? Maybe so. That
would be different though, innit? Everything happens for a reason, I think, mate.
And that's what it is, and that's what it is. So yeah, I turned that down at Bradford, and what took the heat off me was Bradford went into administration again. Yeah.
So was this the guy that had restaurants, Ollie?
Yeah, Omar Khan, yeah. So we had the restaurants. It used to be, there were some mad tales going around, like the drinks and food order were like 20, 30 grand, and there were 10 fans sat in Bradford. So where's all stuff going, and bits and bats. So yeah, that was different. And then my agent rang me, Craig Harrison.
Sorry to interrupt, you become a free agent then. Your contract void and that.
Yeah, so the first time, I believe that's how Craig Kotjak left Bradford and went to Huddersfield.
Right, okay.
So they were meant to go to Catalan and he just didn't turn up to the bus. He went, oh, club's under a new owner, you don't have to play for it. And he were a free agent and went to Huddersfield.
Okay. I bet that went down badly though.
From the bricks,
Probably one of your main players, wasn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, at the time he were unbelievable. They were copy. He'd played for Wales, he'd killed it, and then the Huddersfield had picked him up. So yeah, I'd become a free agent, and my agent rugby, who were Craig Harrison at the time, rung me and said, how's everything doing? What's the crack? What's going on? I said, I don't know, mate. I said, I'm getting sick of this. I think I'd made about 9 first team games for Bradford. And I was like, it's becoming tedious. It's becoming tedious, this. He went, listen, you've got not long left at season. Get it out of the way, and then we'll see what happens, who buys the club or what happens. If not, we'll look elsewhere. I think the week after I'd been picked to play against Wigan away, carried ball, snapped my ankle. So that weekend...
Are you leaving insured?
No idea. They paid for it, to be fair. I had surgery over at York, so they looked after me and paid for it. But yeah, snapped my ankle. And I remember being that mad. They were like, oh, you need to go to hospital. I said, listen, I'm not going to no Wigan hospital. I said, I'm not going anywhere. I said, I'm going home. They went, you can't, you've snapped your ankle. So the physio drove my mum's car back with me sat in front with his boot on for broken ankle, and mum sat in back. And he went, at least I get home quicker than bus. Then he drove me back. He'd already called the club doctor back to Bradford Hospital, where they'd x-rayed it and stuff. Within 48 hours, they'd already spoke to the surgeon in York, and I were in York having surgery 2 days after. So,
how had you been before then, mate? Injury-wise?
Touch wood, I had nothing. I would
That's major,
done really well. But then to have that call my agent, get to end of year, keep killing it, I'll get you a club, no worries, to breaking my leg against Wigan. I was like, oh, wow. It could all be over because a club goes down, I'm stuck here, or they could go bust. Who's going to want me when I'm injured? It's, again, them feelings.
Where'd you rehab and all that?
Physios go leaving. It just, your head starts turning and turning. So, yeah, I'd had surgery. The coach got sacked. They brought in Jimmy Lowes then. So they just brought in Jimmy Lowes, and I'd been at home for about 6 weeks here because, again, they didn't know what was happening with physios. They didn't know what was going on. So I'd come back in, start doing a bit of rehab and stuff. And I remember I'd been out of contract, and my agent just texted me out of nowhere saying, Huddersfield. And I thought, was he on about where I live? What's he getting at here?
Yeah.
So I rang him and said, Craig, you've just texted me saying Huddersfield. He went, yeah, do you want to go to him? And I went, well, what do you mean? He went, there's an option. There'll be a fee for you, but I think they're willing to pay it. But there's a contract at Huddersfield if you're interested. I went, yeah, done. So we spoke about some figures, and I said, yeah, it's a no-brainer. It's a massive club. It's a big opportunity for me to go grow and learn. Paul Anderson was the coach at the time. So like, yeah, it's a no-brainer. I need to progress. So I said, yeah, go do the deal. Literally, I think about 2 days later, I got a phone call from one of the directors at Bradford saying, Ollie, we think you're a bit of an asset to the club. We know you've had your injury and stuff. We want you to sign with us. Jimmy Lowes wants you to sign. We want to get something done. And I'm like, oh, you're too late to party. I've already agreed terms at Huddersfield. And to be fair, they were quite understanding about it. They were like, listen, we get it. We aren't in the best of situations. We're getting relegated to Championship. We won't stop you. We're getting money for you, so it helps.
Yeah.
Fair play. So, yeah, that led on to my move to Huddersfield.
Right, mate. So there's a few things. So, again, seen the dark side of rugby, haven't you?
Yeah.
You've got an option of going somewhere that's really settled. And at that point, mate, were really challenging, weren't they?
Yeah.
Or on the cusp of challenging.
They were, yeah. So they just won the year, I think 2013, they'd won league leaders. I think I'd gone there in 2014 or 15.
Right.
So when Nathan Brown had left, Paul Anderson had just taken over from him.
Yeah. Right. So does it feel right? And how do you trust people when you've been in them situations in rugby league? So how do you go to a certain agent, and is it like a feeling you get when you meet them, or is it off your mum to say just give it a go? Is it off you to say?
Craig wasn't pushy.
Got to trust someone eventually.
Yeah, Craig wasn't pushy, so I'd spoke to a load of agents. I'd spoke to a load of different agents, and I hadn't signed with anyone. At the time, Glenn Morrison introduced me to an Australian guy. He was like, I get used to Oz. I think you'd do well in Oz through the systems over there. I'm like, no, I don't want to go to Oz. I won't go with England to Oz. I'm not going to go now with Oz. I'm going to go live there. I won't go for a month, so I'm not going to move there. And he couldn't get his head around that. So, yeah, I'd met Craig. I took my mum to go meet him. We'd met him over at David Lloyd's in Leeds. That was his favourite stomping ground. He used to play tennis because his lad played tennis. Right. And, yeah, my mum was like, listen, he seems like a genuine fella. He's got good interests at heart. He speaks well about you. He's open. He'll tell you what you don't want to hear, and he'll tell you what you do want to hear. So you can't complain. So I'd signed with Craig. He'd got me the deal at Huddersfield, which were brilliant. But then again, I had all the feelings again spike back because the unknown going into Huddersfield, prove yourself again. I'm coming in as this young lad with a reputation. I need to try earn a spot. How do I get a spot in the Huddersfield team? Brett Ferris, Joe Wardle, Aaron Murphy, there's Jermaine, McGilvery, Leroy Cudjoe, Akuma Tynes at back row. Like, how am I going in there and playing? And I was blown away, to be fair. And I thought, listen, if I just go and learn as much as I can off of these players, it'll set me up. And luckily enough, I'd signed there, and a young lad, Tyler Dickinson, also a Brighouse boy, lived 2 streets away from there. had also just gone full-time at Huddersfield, so that's how the famous Brighouse bus partnership became one. So, yeah, I used to pick Tyler up in the morning, we'd travel into training, and yeah, it softened the blow because I knew someone and we were both new to the first team, so it was an eye-opener from being at Bradford and their type of training and being part of two, like, say, failings of ownerships to then going to a Ken Davey who's not going anywhere because he'd backed the club that much and his support and loyalties to the club were unbelievable. So, yeah, so I think it was Chris Foreman with the assistant, Paul Anderson with the head coach, and Kieran Patel with the assistant at the time, which were unbelievable. Learning from Spuggy and, of course, Blue really took me under his wing. But I don't think I made my debut for a long time, and that's where the loans came in there. So I'd signed at Huddersfield. I'd done the full pre-season, really enjoyed it, loved it. And Paul Anderson was like, there's an opportunity for you to go to Sheffield. They're doing a bit of hybrid training. So this was when Sheffield were full-time in the morning, and then the part-time lads would come on an evening. So the likes of Jamie Langley had just gone there, who I was with at Bradford, Keel Carlisle, he were full-time and stuff, QLT. So he were like, I want you to go to Sheffield and get some games against men. So I was like, all right, yeah, sounds good to me. So Mark Aston called me, and this is how...
So you was all right with that, mate?
Yeah, because I was like, I'd played a couple of games at Bradford. I think about nine or so many games at Bradford. I'd played reserve, but I'd never played Championship. I'd never played League One. So I was like, yeah, sound, let me go get some game time against men. I'm training at Huddersfield. Let me go. I'll go do that. Wow. So I used to meet Langers in the morning, would travel down to Sheffield, would train and do skill and a bit of gym. I'd drive back up, and then I'd drive home and have my tea. I'd drive back, meet Don Brambani. I'd drive to Sheffield and train on a night, and then drive back home. I think I did about 4 days, and I rang Paul Anderson. I said, mate, I'm not a moaner, but I can't do this. I said, I can't do this. I said, mate, I can't sleep. I said, I'm up, I'm out of the house. I said, I go, I'm back, I'm done. And I said, why are they training so much? And he was like, listen, it'll be good for you. It'll be good. You'll get used to it and whatnot. And Tubby were pretty good for me. Mark Aston were really good with me, to be fair. He said, listen, some nights just come on an evening, some nights come both, because I'm not going to need you to do some skill. And this is when I first got introduced to Keith Senior. And wow, he was one angry man back then. Yeah, I remember playing. I think I played 2 or 3 games at Sheffield, but I'd gone. This is when they were playing at Doncaster, Don Valley Stadium. So I played there. I can't remember who we played against. But of course, I'd come on at back row, done a bit, come off at half time, and Keith Senior like pulled me one side. He went, "You have come from Super League, and you're blowing already." I was like, what's happening here? This big, angry, bald man screaming in my face. He went, "It's pathetic." I was like, oh my God. But luckily, he did hammer a load of other people around the dressing room as well. But I don't know what he was so mad for. We were winning.
You know what? He's sound as well, isn't he?
Unbelievable. So I've got to meet him again, and I'll get onto that. But yeah, I'm like, oh my God, why is he so angry? What's up with him? Like I said, I'm pretty laid back. I'm pretty chill. When I need to switch on, I can switch it on. But other than that, I'm pretty laid back. And I'm like, why is this big bald man screaming at me?
Oh, funny. So do you know when you've got a jersey up then, Howie, and your name's on it, mate, and that? Is that a bit surreal, that?
At the beginning, yeah, unbelievable. When you go in that dressing room and your kit's up, your number's there, and you're like, wow, like it's the pinnacle. It gets diluted a bit when you do it that many times. It becomes a job.
Yeah, the norm. Yeah,
it becomes a job when you are training and stuff. And like I said, and what I would say to a young person is it becomes harder is when you start getting paid, because someone owns you then.
Yeah,
you become part of the cog that turns. And when you've got drones watching you at training, why did you do this? Why did you do that on the board in front of everybody? Or when you're watching the game back and coaches are hammering you for stuff, and it's just
no one tells you about.
Yeah, no one tells you about any of this. And when you're wrestling and you're getting dominated by men, and they're like, well, you're not winning in wrestle. I'm like, no, I'm 18-year-old and I can't beat Chev Walker that's strong as shit.
Yeah, because he's an ox.
Yeah. We're like, yeah, why aren't you flipped Earl Crabtree on his back? I said, I don't know. There's about 5 of us here. We did it together. I don't think we'd do it, but all right.
Yeah, and the other thing, mate, is I'm quite sentimental, mate. I like the old programs. That like if I'd got to your levels, I'd have kept jerseys and that. Are you like that, or
yeah, I am, and I'm not. So I had all my jerseys, but I had an option when I sold them all, and I donated the money to charity. I had every jersey. I had every jersey I'd ever played in. So right back on my Facebook page, I'd first signed at Bradford. I got given the old purple shirt, and that's the only shirt that I've got. And I've got a couple of others that I've kept at the minute. But yeah, I had all my international shirts. I had all my debut shirts. I had everything. And it was a Cancer Trust charity thing. And I sold a lot. I think I made about 1,800 quid and just give it to charity. Because I was like, listen, I've played in them. I've seen them. They're all up here. I can't take them with me. They're lovely. They'll pass them on, but they'll collect a bit of dust. Someone else can have the love of them, and someone else can have the money to help them. So that's how I thought about it.
And has that come as you've got older? Because obviously we're going to touch on the changing man that you've become. Would like a mid-teen or you thought like that?
No, an absolute wild man. Yeah. I wouldn't give a monkeys about anything. I'd just done my own thing and just being daft. But yeah, signing at Huddersfield, loved it. Gone to Sheffield, come back. I did a month. I said, Blue, I'm not going back there. I can't do that. There's no way I'm doing that.
Yeah.
So I played a couple of games for Huddersfield reserves. While I were there, I guess I were maturing because it were a different environment. It were a professional environment. Don't get me wrong, Bradford were professional, really professional. Huddersfield, again, were the next level above. And it did blow me way back. And it's not because Bradford weren't professional. I think it's because they've been through 2 administrations and lads were that effed off and it being that disrupted. It was just a tough place to train.
Yeah.
So
sorry to interrupt, mate. What's reserved like to Championship?
Again, just a lot of physical. Championship is more physical because it's slower. There's men there that are 35-year-old that have played Super League and they're waiting to knock your head off. The game's just that slow. There's a 10-second play of the ball and everyone stood there. Super League's just so fast now. People are playing the ball while people are not even back in the line. And then we're still light years away from the NRL. You can see in the NRL there's just broken lines everywhere. It's because of the speed of everything. No offence to the referees, but they're just not consistent. It's just the consistency is not there. And as for a fan and other players, I think they can all confirm the same. So once that becomes more consistent, maybe it'll change. But maybe Championship needs to stay like that because that's why Championship is what it is.
Yeah.
Jermaine McGilvray was a big influence on me at Huddersfield and my changing. I'd signed there. I'd saved quite a bit of money up. And I was like, right, laughing and joking, there's the Mercedes garage across the road from training where we were, and I kept driving past this white like C200. I'm having that. And I kept saying it. I'm like, just do it. Just treat yourself. You're full time now. You've got 2 years. Just treat yourself. And I was saying it to him one day, and I'm like, I'm going to go have a look at that car later. He went, what car? I went, oh, I said, that Merc. What car have you got now? I went, oh, just like an old Mark V Golf. I went, do you own it? I went, well, yeah. I went, so what do you want a car for then? I went, because it's nice, isn't it? He went, you drive 15 minutes from your house to training and you drive 15 minutes home and go nowhere. He went, what do you want a nice car for? I went, well, you just, I do, don't I? He went, you haven't made it. He went, you don't need no flash car. He went, you need an house. And I went, you are? I'm 9. No, what? Well, yeah, we're 19 or 20. I went, what do you mean I'm not an house? What do I want an house for? I'm not leaving my mum's house. She cooks me, cleans me, she makes me tea. I'm not going anywhere. He went,
winning?
Yeah. He went, don't move into it. I said, what, buy a house and don't move into it? I mean, you're not making any sense to me. So I'm not, no, I want the car. So I'd go home that evening and he'd kind of drilled it into me again saying, don't buy that car, look for an house. So he'd sent me, and I'd sent him this one that were in Brighouse. And he went, that looks good. I think it were up for like 105 grand at the time, and it was like a streetwear from my granny and granddad's. And I was like, do you know what?
Memories and that then, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, do you know what? Yeah. I had no intention of ever buying an house. I got no clue about property. I had no clue about anything. And he was like, go have a look at it. So I did. I went and had a look. And it was one of them times where you book a viewing, but the people showing you around do it for you.
Yeah.
So I'd got there. I went down and met this guy, and my God, what a weird fella. I went to the back door, and he went, I'll stop you there. He went, if you come to the front, we'll start the journey from there. I'm like, I don't need this. I don't need this. So I'm stood there, and he's showing me around his house, and I thought, he's a proper old fella. But it's proper feminine in here. I thought, he's pretty weird, this, but we'll carry on. And he's showing me around the house, showed me experiment. That's where she sleeps. Didn't say anything about it. Walking around the house, I thought, oh, what's going on here?
It's all Netflix as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I thought I'm getting murdered or kept in a cage. So I get into the back garden, he starts, well, that's where the sun rises from. And this is where it sets. You'll get it all. And I'm like, what do I care about the sun for? I had no clue about these south-facing, north. What is this man on about? And he went, and the reason I'm selling, and I thought, I hadn't even asked him. I've not said one word here. I'm done with her. He must have been about 90-something. Frail man. I'm done with her. And I thought, He went, I'm getting divorced. I swear to God, this old lady must have turned up that were his wife at the time. She were older than him. I went, getting divorced? You ain't got long left, bless. He went, we're done. We're selling. I can't do with her. And they were selling the house, and they were actually getting divorced at 90-something years of age. He's decided he's getting this apartment in Murfield, and he's done with her. She can do what she wants. She can go to the moon for all I care. Oh, wow. What's going on here?
Living tenant done.
Yeah, what's going on? So, yeah. I'd gone home and I'd gone round to my granddad's house, and my uncle were there, and I told him the story. I said, I just nearly got kidnapped by an old fella. And he started laughing, and he went, do you know what that stinks of? A deal. Offer 'em mint gonads. Oh. I went, I don't want it. I don't get it. I don't need it. Yeah. He went, you do. He went, just go for it. It is what it is. So, yeah, I'd put in this mad offer at 90 grand. So I'd rung estate agents. They went, well, that's nearly like not far off 20 grand below asking price. And my uncle's there going, tell them that's all you've got. I went, well, that's where I'm at. But yeah, so put phone down, they ring back. He went, if they ring back, because they're going to ring back, he went, tell them 92 and tell them that's where your mortgage thing's capped at. He said, see what they say. So I ring back, they went, yeah, they've declined. I went, well, I'll go a little bit higher. He goes, I'll go 92 because that's all my mortgage can go to. They rung back and accepted. Yeah. He said, old fella.
I think your uncle got him upside down.
Yeah. Like that, old fella said he's just done with it. He said he's done. So yeah, offer done.
You know what, mate? I'll be honest. So I was very much like you. Like, I'm a council estate. So I wasn't brought up on owning houses, mate.
No.
And it's something you're just not taught until it's at your feet, and you've just got to learn on the go, I imagine. Similar, mate.
And McGilvery was the pinnacle. He was the smart man at Huddersfield. Like, he really took me under his wing and gave me some guidance. And Leroy as well. Smart lads. Very humble people as well. So, yeah, I ended up getting this house. Of course, the process of it going through. I'm speaking to my uncle. And he's like, oh, what are you doing with it? I said, I don't know. I think I'm going to have to get like the estate agent to rent it out and whatever they do. He went, yeah, leave it with me. When do you get it? And I'm like, I don't know. One at last Fridays a month, maybe. He went, sound, ring me when you get keys. I said, all right, so no worries. So think nothing of it. Go pick a keys up from estate agents, ring him. So I'm going to go have a look around. He went, sound. He's at house before me with my new tenant.
That's class, isn't it?
He went, Oliver, this is Peter. Peter's moving in. Peter's my old pal. He just got out of prison, but don't worry about that. He'll be fine. Give Peter keys. See you in a bit. I like, you. What's just happened here? I didn't even look around the house again. I just give him keys. I just like, what do I do?
It's been a pleasure, mate.
Yeah, you can Google this guy. He's called Peter Hurst. He was from Brighouse. He was an old fella. He was 75 with Peter. And so much stories he used to sit down and he used to tell me. He was just a crook, pure crook, robbing people left, right, and centre. He was fraud for his thing. And I'm like, what's going on here? Thought nothing of it.
You checking your checks, going like,
yeah, what's
if you can and all that.
He'd pay every month. He were unbelievable. Some months he'd go, there's £100 short, but I'm doing cigarette run this weekend, so come back. Oh, unbelievable character.
That's real though, isn't it? That's like real, mate.
Unbelievable character. And he been in there ever since. I've not made one mortgage payment, and I've had it over 10 years.
You still got it, mate?
Yeah, not made one mortgage payment. Been in it 10 years. Unbelievable. So that was that. So back to rugby.
That's class though, isn't it?
Well, mate, mad. Some of the people you meet along the way and stuff is just bonkers. But didn't probably no tenancy. I don't think there's a tenancy agreement now, to be honest. I hope Peter's not watching.
It's a good point.
But absolute, just a comic, just a pure comic. Like, he'd say stuff like, "Any lads selling any runabout cars?" This is lad that's renting house off me. So, Peter, you're a bit old to be driving. He went, no. He goes, I'm going to get back into it. So one of Australians were going home, were selling like a polo. So I said, I can get this polo for you. It's £800. He went, bring it to me. So he gets polo and he had this little Westie. So he said he used to go out and do his bit of driving at night morning. And he rings me, he went, where are you? I went, on my own, Peter. He went, pick us up from the petrol station on Bradford Bulls, will you? I need to get home. So I thought, why is he ringing me of all people? Ringing him, he goes, they've had me. I went, who? He went, they've took car.
No insurance.
No insurance, nothing. I went, do you mean they've took the car? He went, no insurance, nothing. He went, do you know the best of it? They let me put a full tank in before taking it.
Oh, dude, do you know what? I was waiting for something. That's brilliant, that, isn't it?
He went, can I have £50 back from my rent? Hey, listen. For your cheek, have it, keep it.
Yeah.
Go home, Peter.
Oh, that's class.
Just a proper old school type of fella. He used to crack me up because he used to say the way that he used to get people to fall for his tricks and deals. He goes, his favourite were businessmen, but married businessmen. I said, all right. It's a bit weird. And he go, no. It's all up there, son. I'm like, what do you mean it's all up there? He went, take them for a nice meal and that. Offer them, pitch, what I can get them, what money I need to secure stuff. He goes, as soon as she goes to the toilet, go, I can see what's happening here. I'll give you time to think about this because I think you need to talk to your missus about money and stuff because she must have control. He said it was like a light switch in their head. He went, I've got control. I'll sign it now. What money do you want? He went, I had them every time.
You are now an agent.
Yeah. And I thought, no wonder you've done half your life in prison, Peter.
Yeah. Oh, class.
But unbelievable bloke. But back to rugby. Loved it being at Huddersfield. Would come into the second year I'd been there. And I'd kind of come on the scene, done a full pre-season again, really bought into it, had a proper dig. And I remember making my debut for Huddersfield first team was pre-season friendly Hull KR away. I'd come off the bench at 13 and just proper had a dig. Scored that game, really come on the scene, and I didn't look back after that. I kind of earned myself a bench spot, so like 19, 20-ish, 20 at the time, earned a bench spot for Huddersfield and just didn't really look back. Loved it. Played, come off the bench, bit of an impact, do what I could do, and then come off. We hadn't had the best of year and stuff, and I think Paul Anderson had got the chop. and they brought in a coach called Rick Stone. Good fella.
He wasn't well known here though, mate, was he?
No, he wasn't overly known. But if you Google him and look what he'd done, I think he'd been assistant, but when people had been sacked, he'd stepped into a lot of their roles. So he had a lot of head gigs, but no one really knew about him. Of course, his lad's now playing at Salford. Same Stone. But unbelievable fella. I really got on with Rick Stone. He really bought into it. His culture around rugby were 10 and drive. Proper classic. But no, he was a good fella. But I don't think Huddersfield again were for him. He came in, but he couldn't really succeed. He did bring in someone that were, again, a massive influence on myself. And Tyler would say different. Tyler would say he'd make him pick us up on way to training every day because he wouldn't buy another car. But Ryan Hinchcliffe, when he'd signed at Huddersfield, unbelievable fella. Just a proper athlete. He'd come from Melbourne Storm. He'd done everything at Melbourne. And they'd said to him, go have a bit of time in Super League and come back. You've got a guaranteed job here for life. From which he's back there now at Melbourne working. But yeah, Inchy were an unbelievably good fella. Really old school Aussie type of guy. But yeah, he couldn't get me and Tyler. So we'd invited him to Brighouse bus. No, I think he invited himself because he didn't have another car. So we said, you pick him up on way. You pick him up on way. Yeah. But every time me and Tyler would, a bit of road rage, would be swearing at people, get out road or beeping and whatnot. He'd laugh at Matt going, he'd flog you. Don't beep him, he'd probably flog you. So we'd laugh it off for him and it'd be pretty funny. The worst time I ever had him in my car, my brother-in-law had bought himself an S3. And he were like, I don't know what's wrong with brother-in-law, but fast cars and him don't go down well. Everywhere he stops at a set of lights or anywhere he stops, he's got to launch control from there to wherever he's going. So yeah, we were going out on a Christmas drink. So I said, we need to pick Inchy up on way, pick Inchy up. So we've diverted to Inchy's house and he gets in car. He's well, hiya Marshall, how are we doing? You all right? Nice to meet you. Sets off. I've never seen a man hold onto a car like it was. It's normal to me and Tyler because we were talking. I looked at back, Shinch had hold of his belt, all the top at car. He was just going this way, shrugging himself all the way. He got out in the middle of Huddersfield. He dropped to his knees. He went, I'll never get in a car with that man again. Marshall, what's up with you? See you in a bit, Paul. Ozzy, see you in a bit.
So is there any that have come over that I'm after no name, by the way, but have any imports come over where you thought they're really going to take us to another level and maybe you can learn from and they've just not quite been what you've wanted?
Yeah, I think Huddersfield has had a couple of people come over and expected big stuff and hoping for stuff, or maybe uneducated signings for injury that's chewed up a lot of the cap and stuff. From no fault of their own. They're not bad blokes at all, really good fellas. But injury had just taken a toll on the body and they couldn't fulfill the role that they were coming to do, unfortunately. Stoney got the flick. He ended up moving on and they brought in a coach, Simon Wolford.
Yeah. What does that do to you, that, mate? Do you ever doubt your position in the squad when that happens?
Sometimes, because you start in a fresh slate all over again. But this time I'd matured a bit more. I'd found my feet at Huddersfield. I'd settled in nicely. I think I got shirt number 16. I were enjoying it. I was playing. I were enjoying it. I were a valid member of the group. I was like the young lad, but I was playing. And at this point, I played a game for Ireland. So Scott Grix, at the time at Huddersfield, was at Ireland. Mark Aston was the Ireland coach, and he invited me over. I think I played against Spain in Valencia for Ireland and stuff, and just come onto the scene of that. So that was quite good.
You enjoyed it, mate. Yeah,
Ireland were different. The way that Mark Aston won Ireland were a different kettle of fish. They were like a stag do with a game of rugby at the end of it.
So I like that.
Yeah, no, his social thing was key to get the team bonded together. The group of lads he brought were always good fellas. The lads that came over from Ireland had good crack, as you could imagine. So it really worked. I loved playing for Ireland, and that's kind of how I lost all my holidays, because your season would run up to October, then the international would be October to November, then pre-season would start again. So I think I did like nearly 10 years of no holidays. The only day I get was like a cattle on away.
Yeah, or like if you're out the cup or something.
Yeah, if that. But I think I'll give you an insight of where I started. So when I'd signed at Huddersfield, I had no GCSEs, no nothing. So in the back of my head, I was a bit like, oh, I wonder what I'm going to do after rugby. So I can't read.
Early you're doing that.
Yeah. I always had my head quite fished, and I think the influence of like Jermaine and Leroy and them type of players kind of made me think, I know this ain't going to last forever, but what am I going to do? So when I'd signed at Huddersfield, there were an ex-player that lives in Brighouse. He played for Sheffield, a guy called Arnie Amer. He were in the police. He had all different types of stuff. He owned a supported living children's home. So this was for children that were in care, that didn't live with parents. They lived in like these apartments. So like 6 apartments in one block, and there were like one staff member that worked, and they were like a supported living accommodation. He invited me to look around. He said, a lot of rugby players get into this line of work. So he taught me about it's about giving back a bit, supporting these young people. They don't really have role models. And it was just basically teaching them some life skills, anything from going to food shops, supporting them to pay bills. So I volunteered doing that. So as soon as I signed a thing, I volunteered. I think I did about 12 months. And Arnie pulled me. He went, there's a qualification in this. It's classed as your level 3. I'll pay for it for you. He went, I want you to give a load of hours to me to help me with the children here. I want to give something to you. And he paid.
Definitely seen something in you there, mate, didn't he? And
yeah.
I'll be honest, just this chat now, because I don't know you other than that, I can get a sense that you're a people person.
Yeah, I do. I get on with people. That's my thing. I love, and that's where I'll probably go in my story where I've got to. So yeah, he paid for me level 3, put me through that. So he introduced me. So what you had to do, you had like one person that teach you level 3, and then you had the other person that taught you your maths, English, and ICT. So like whatever age I was going and meeting a guy in Costa, sitting with a laptop, trying to do maths and English. And then I had fans coming up to me at weekend going, oh, are you playing this weekend, Ollie, and stuff, because they were on Leeds Road. I'm like, yeah. And bless him, I remember his name like nothing. He was called Bashir Ali. He was an Asian lad that taught the maths, English, and ICT. Do you know, what do you do? He goes, all these people seem to know you. He goes, I'm here to teach you maths and English. Who are all these people? I said, oh, I play rugby. He goes, I play at the stadium and stuff. And we got a good relationship going, to be fair. And he used to take Mick, he goes, yeah, it's true about rugby players. You all are quite thick, aren't you? So we're getting to parts where I'd done the level 3, you could do it over the phone. So the woman would ring me, I'd answer all the questions over the phone. So there were no written, there were no email. And I'd research my stuff, talk over the phone. But I was seriously failing at the maths, English, and ICT stuff because it involved reading, writing, and stuff.
Yeah.
So he goes, you get into the back end of it now, you need to start booking your tests. So I went, all right, sound, book them, we'll do them. We'll do ICT one first. I can work a laptop. So we did that. Passed it, no problem. I said, right, next one. I said, well, let's do maths. I said, we'll do it. Did it, and I just scraped through. I just passed the maths, so I'd got through that, so I was grateful. So all left was the English paper, which were involved. I think it were all tied into one. It were like you had a reading section you had to complete, and then fill out like a description section. I remember doing it. We were at Holiday Inn in Brighouse, and I hope the company's not listening now, but. So he goes, we'll start the exam. So we start this time, and I'm doing all laptop work, and I thought, hey, this is easy, this. Well, I'm not too bad at this. So about 15 minutes in, I'm done, Basher. He went, you out? It's a 2.5 hour exam, Ollie. He went, take your time. He goes, just have a think. I went, man, I'm done. I don't need 2.5 hours. I'm done. And I remember him, he just slid his laptop and looked at it. And like he probably glanced at it, started reading, just looked at me, and he just went, oh, God. And just deleted everything. He went, black coffee. And he goes, and just started retyping everything for me because I was close to the thing. And I think he'd been told that they were moving all the tutors on, and just a person that taught level 3 would have to get everyone else passed. And He went, yeah, go get me a black coffee. And he just sat there and did it. And then I found out at the end, he gets paid for whoever passed his module. So I'm sure there were more than me that got past right at end before I got sacked.
So yeah, that's... sorry, mate. Do you know the challenges you were coming across then? So you've not had any aid, have you, like kids possibly get now? Right, even other than Batcher now, which he's basically just helped you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but do you spot that in kids now, mate?
Yeah.
And
yeah, definitely. So yeah, he passed me level 3. So I was buzzing. I'd gone to Arnie and said, I've passed my level 3, I'm done, mate. Maths, English, I've never have to go to school again, I'm done. He went, sweet. He goes, you're done with me now then, aren't you? I went, what do you mean? He went, you've done residential. I want you to go do supported living now. I said, what's the difference? So he gave me this guy's number from Brighouse, and turns out, of course, my uncle know him. Guy called Alex Muff, and he owned a residential children's home, which was younger children, but you had 2 staff on, and they'd do 24 hours on, 48 hours off. And basically, while you were there, you were that kid's parent. So they lived in a big house like this, and they had a bedroom each, and it was carnage. It was carnage. You could have an unbelievable evening. You'd all sit down and have dinner together, and you could be having dinner and a plate fly past your head, smash off at wall, one at kids and start with another kid, and it was just unbelievable. But at the time, I was playing, and the kids kind of knew who I was. So I'd gone there, met Alex. I said, I want to volunteer. I want to give a bit back. He went, sound, done. He went, the kids will love you. He goes, I've got one that loves rugby at the minute. He went, there's others that are underprivileged. So I used to go every evenings that I could and take them out. So I'd take this one lad to the gym 2 or 3 times a week. There were a girl there. I used to take her to the gym. Took a couple of them to rugby coaching. And then when I take them, I'd end up coaching team when I were there. And I loved being involved. I'd go, some nights I'd get home from training earlier and I'd be like, well, I'm like, instead of doing nothing with me night, I'll go up there and play Xbox with them and just give a bit back and maybe help the staff that are flooded with paperwork. I'll work with kids. Staff can do that. And I think it just grew, and that's when I seen a lot of my previous self in these kids. Don't get me wrong, I had the best upbringing ever. But a lot of these kids have struggled, and if I can help their upbringing a little bit and give a bit back to them, it means I'm doing the right thing, in my opinion.
I love that, mate. That's classy, that.
So yeah, I did that and I absolutely loved it. And I was like, do you know what? When I'm done playing, this is for me. This is a job I want to do. If I can make a difference to someone's life, it's going to help me. So yeah, I loved it. Volunteered doing that, and I did that all the way through my rugby career. So I've always and I thought to myself, if I do this, I've got my level 3 now. When I finish playing rugby, I'll have 10 years of rugby league or 20 years of rugby league, whatever. But I've also got 20 years of work experience, and you can't buy that experience because you're working with social workers, the connections you make, the understanding of the terminology, and the kids that you work with high risk, you're working with the police. It's just unbelievable. You do come across some serious challenges though, like when they go running and you hear door open at midnight and they're gone, and they're like, "Oh,
let's get your slippers on, mate." Yeah,
who's chasing this one then? But you'd have a good laugh with them. You'd have a good laugh with kids, and if you talk to them and be on a level with them, they'd be on a level with you. Yeah, I had one.
Was it like a boss distraction from rugby as well? Sorry to interrupt you, Ollie. Was it just a clean break you possibly needed?
Yeah. You go home and just... Well, I wouldn't do anything daft. I'd go home and I'd volunteer my weekends to there, or I'd do my social life with mint as well. But I always give a bit of something back, and it were like cleanse, like a cleanse when I'll give it back and been just doing the right thing. And I loved it.
And in return, probably made you a bit more grateful without knowing. I'm not saying you wasn't, mate, by no means, but you get a little bit
it humbles you and it brings you straight back down to earth, 100%. Because when you think you're having a bad day or something bad's happened, it's minuscule to what's happened to somebody else that you don't know.
Yeah.
Some of the stories that come with the young kids is heart-wrenching. So if you can have a bit of a positive influence on them, it means the world. I remember we played Magic Weekend at Newcastle, and I got tickets for everyone in the children's home to go. So there were 4 kids, all staff, and they'd had a full day up at Newcastle. But I forgot to mention, I didn't even realise myself, I'd give them the VIP tickets. So they got to the door to go into normal turns. I went, oh, these aren't for you. You're in Players and Families Lounge. So they were up there So all kids from children's are causing carnage. It's free pop. It's free pop up here. He said up my own, they were all charged, absolutely charged for 2 days solid. He said they'd never seen
Bull in the vein.
Oh, honestly, they'd never seen that much Diet Coke, full fat Coke being drunk in one building. But they said the kids absolutely loved it. Like they sat there because it was like the bucket seats where they were. I brought them down to pitch side, had photos of them all. I said, listen, get on pitch. Like it would just, and that might be like something that they remember when they're older. That's just something special.
It's a fact that it's something they definitely will remember, Ollie, when they're older.
So yeah, that's that. But yeah, back at Huddersfield, I'd gone, been playing, Germ come in. I've also forgot about a little stint I did at Oldham. So Oldham were dual reg at one point with Huddersfield. I remember I'd been injured one pre-season and we'd been sent to do a pre-season game for Oldham. They were playing Lee. Scott Naylor was the coach. And my God, he's a funny man. He's one funny man. So I remember we'd gone to Lee. There were me, Scott Griggs, Michael Lawrence, who were all playing for Oldham just to get some pre-season fitness. So Grixie drives over, we get to the stadium, go in, sat down. Grixie being Grixie, the ultimate professional. I think we were there at 3 o'clock. I don't think kick off until 7. But they were like full time. Yeah, and that was my first inkling of this is League One rugby, like champ rugby. Lads come in all in work gear, one had vaping, and like not like just throw bag on floor, put the boots on. Some studs were missing, some studs weren't. So this is different. Kitman came in, all came middle up thing, and they're all fighting. Everyone's fighting for what size shorts are in.
Socks and that, yeah.
I'm looking around going, hey, where's our kit? Where's Kitman? And Scott Miller went, dig in. I'm like, oh. So I managed to piece a bit of kit together. Scott Griggs, this is before True Socks were a thing. He's sat in corner cutting his sock. Kitman's going, we have only got enough socks for you here. Griggs is warm, he's cutting socks. I'm like, oh God, what's going on here? Like, this is carnage. So everyone gets sorted. They're all having rubs and whatnot. I'm sat there like all my ritual, my preparation. I'm like, everything's perfect for me, doing all my stuff. Team talk. Scott Naylor opens door. RFL guy gives him their team sheet. Shuts door. He just starts looking down and goes, folds it in half and looks at a lad called George Tyson. Who were at Salford. He were there at the time. He went, Michael Platt's playing. Good luck. So he folds team in half and he goes, right, lads, we're here on a pre-season game. He goes, you got some superstars with you, eh? How about that? I'm thinking, oh my God. He went, right, Lee. He said, the full time. Let's face it, they're stronger than you. They're fitter than you. They're faster than you. But they've only got half a team out, so you've got half a chance. Now have a good one, lads. What has just happened? What has just happened here? So yeah, we went and it were unbelievable. It were a right game. Proper had a dig. Unbelievable. I've never seen someone take a settler on 5th and last on our own try line before, but it is what it is. Phil Joy.
It's a learning curve.
Yeah, Phil Joy streaming. Give it here, I'll take a settler. I'm like, it's 5th and last and we're on our own try line. What are we doing? Kick it. Someone kick it. So yeah, we were drawing at end of game. And I remember this being proper young kid. And I think he were on loan from St. Helens to Oldham. I don't think we're going to make it in Saints, so they'd let him get some game time. And Scott Naylor sent Cone on from halfway line. He went, tell him to kick it for 2. And he went, it's a long way that. And he missed it, bless him. And after the game, Scott Naylor grabbed me back and he went, welcome to big leagues. I just thought he was just a funny fella. So yeah, I played a number of games there. Fully enjoyed it. Really enjoyed playing at Oldham, playing with lads. I think he kicked a bin at Tyler Dickinson's head one day. That was funny. Didn't say sorry enough. I think he laughed at him while doing it. Yeah, that was brilliant. But yeah, and then I kind of fell out of favour. So when Simon Wolford came in, it kind of came a bit rocky for me. He wasn't. I want his flavour at month.
Was he direct with you though, Ollie? Or
no.
Oh.
No, you don't get a lot of coaches that are direct. You don't. They all beat around the bush. No one wants that awkward conversation. So yeah, I'd been picked for 2017 for the World Cup for Ireland. Gone over there and had a really good World Cup. We played Italy in Cairns, so we'd flown over. And I'd managed to get over my duck of going, and I'd flown. I was a bit older, a bit more mature, still terrified of flying, but club doctor at Huddersfield gave me enough diazepam and Zopiclone to put a small horse down, so I was ready.
Just waiting up for kick-off.
Yeah. So yeah, I'd taken my flying pills, got there, so we'd flown, and then I'd really got introduced to some good people, the likes of Mickey Mack. I'd known him before because John Bateman, my mate, were at Wigan. Met Mickey a few times, but being on camp with him just became a bit of a friendship that we've got from there. I roomed with Louis McCarthy Scarsbrook. Unbelievable fella. I did a full month living with Louis. What a fella. Proper good guy. Proper. And
energy,
yeah. Kyle Amor, Brad Singleton, some real big names. Mull were there, Scott Griggs, Liam Thin. Just good people. We had an unbelievable. So I think we'd gone into camp. We'd done 2 weeks in Cairns. And basically, we got there a week ahead early because Mark wanted us there to get acclimatised, and all we did was party. Just party.
Yeah. They're always screeners, mate, aren't they? So you don't realise, do you?
About that big, but yeah, there were Gilligan's and Woolshed were the two main places. I remember going to, I think we'd 2 or 3 nights before Italy game, we'd gone out and it were like, oh, we're going to go to laundry place to wash our clothes. Next door were Gilligan's, so we'd nip into Gilligan's while clothes were drying. But the woman would bring our clothes back to the hotel before we could even think to go get our clothes from her. She'd brought back to the hotel, so all our clothes would be at lobby, and then we'd tell Tubby we're waiting on our clothes. So yeah, I remember being in there, and the guy, that manager of Gilligan's, got speaking to all lads. He went, "Oh, I've got a bit of a contest going on. It's jelly wrestling." Oh, jelly wrestling. He went, "If you fancy it," he went, "you drink the rest of your holiday here for free." I went, "You, my friend, have a deal."
You're my type of man.
Yeah, you'll do for me. So they'd put this big jelly pool up, and these 2 people, I absolutely dominated. I body slamming them. I've got one person gaggling, he's drowning in fluid, and I'm trying to get a drink off of Kyle Amor. Going,
WWF style.
Yeah. And to be fair, the guy was true to his word. Did not pay for another drink for the 2 weeks I was there. But yeah, unbelievable experience. I think we were like 7-1 to beat Italy. We were underdogs. So Brett White, who's at the time with the assistant at Canberra, of course he's done Australia now. He's at Titans and so on. But unbelievable bloke. Mark Aston invited him at camp because, of course, he played for Ireland back in the day and wanted someone that were Australian to be part of the camp. White, you're an unbelievable fella. Again, supported me while I were out there. Played against Italy, played against Tedesco, Vaughan, that's at Warrington now. When they all played for Italy, played against them. We beat them, absolutely smoked them in Cairns. Unbelievable. Mark Aston always knew we were going to win, but for us playing against them type of players and the way we turned them over, we were underdogs. And in that 2017 World Cup, we were the most talked about team. Everyone loved Ireland. From there, we went to Papua New Guinea, and wow, that's an eye-opener. Different place.
So, yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Flew there. There were about 7 other people on playing a full Ireland team. Playing had how do you describe it? Like dirty orange-coloured carpet that looked like someone had put cigarettes on it. That were like the seat covers at planes. I'm not a good flyer as it is, and when I'm sat on this plane, I'm like, oh God, what's going on here? Yeah. So we'd got into P&G. Guy comes on plane, he went, "You lot don't get off. You'll get bombarded. Don't get off." What do you mean, don't?
So they were probably waiting for you, weren't they?
Yeah, don't get off. Yeah. We didn't even do passport control. Someone else checked our passports in a different part. We literally went and just walked to look at the players. Didn't care. As soon as we got out, we literally mobbed. Unbelievable experience. We had there were 3 pickups in front, and then there were like a minibus for players. Pickup minibus. Anytime you got to a roundabout, this pickup would fly on, cut everybody off. Then they just cut everybody off at each junction, and the bus wouldn't stop moving. So the bus did not stop for red lights, did not stop for anything until it got to the hotel. And it was just, I've got videos on my phone, I'll send you some over after, but just unbelievable. So I'm thinking, I'm not the best. I don't like Australia as it is because it's well far away from home. They've now put me in PNG. I'm driving around streets and people, bless them, are having fires out of bins. We're not allowed to stop at traffic lights. Where do we sleep in? I'm not about this, mate. I want some comfort. It was the best hotel I've ever stayed at in my entire life. To this day. Infinity pool on roof, you name it. I get there, I'm like, what is this? It's like Dubai. What am I doing here? They had more water bites, the best gym I've ever seen in my entire life. I'm like, what's going on? The hotel manager had tea with us that night. He was a Chinese fella. I'm like, what are you doing here? I'm like, what? You're in PNG, and what's the crack? He went, the guy that owns this is multi-billionaire. He owns a number of the mines, and all his high-up workers and people live in this hotel. His airline company runs out of PNG. And I was like, wow. And that's when I kind of seen the dark side of the amount of money that was being taken out of PNG. It's the richest earth in the world. The soil is full of minerals, gold, so on. It was all getting sent back to China. People were getting backhanders at the top and nothing were going back into the local community. So, yeah, his hotel was the best thing I've ever seen in my entire life. But, yeah.
What's mad, mate? People just turn the blind eye to that, but because you're evolving within yourself, and finding who all he is now and what you want to be, you're spotting.
Yeah, seeing them little things. So all these people outside eating out of bins and having fires, and it was just mad. So we'd got given a load of tickets. So I said, well, I'm not being funny or not, but I know no one's family's coming here to watch us. So what are we doing with all tickets? And they're like, oh, well, we'll probably give them back and they'll sell them on. I went, we're not selling them on. And I took all tickets and I just went out to the main gate and I'm throwing them over. So I'm throwing them over at gate to these kids. The security guards have left our hotel running down with batons trying to whack these kids for tickets. I'm going, whoa, you can have a ticket too. Stop. So I'm handing out these tickets, give all tickets out. And again, elevator, and I'm going up, and there were that kind of wrenched me out. There were a young guy, like a porter, that were in the elevator, and he was like, oh, good luck today, good luck. I said, are you going to the game? I thought nothing of it. I just thought, if I'm going to go to the game, I'm going to the game. Yeah. No, he goes, I go, but outside. And I was like, what do you mean? He went, no ticket, no. And I just give him, I think I had 4 tickets. So I went, you going. And he just dropped in the elevator and he burst into tears and started crying. And I'm like, as if this means so much that you're going. But then I didn't realise how big rugby league is in PNG. We went into the shopping centre. Every man, woman and child had a rugby league top on. It was.
It's mad, isn't it? Yeah, you probably offer them kids now and they probably go, I'm going the footy.
Yeah, no, if I have someone tickets for Huddersfield here, they'd go, what is that? And 2, no, I'm playing on Xbox.
That's in it for me. Yeah. I go there, so yeah.
Yeah. I'm not going there. So yeah, I was like, all right, fair enough, whatever. But over there, unbelievable. Yeah, he just dropped and started crying his eyes out. We were going, and that kind of, I was like, wow, this means a lot to these people. And of course, the game was probably the best game I've ever been involved in. With PNG, the atmosphere, the fans didn't care who scored, they cheered. They didn't care who put a big hit on, they cheered. Like, it was an unbelievable environment. Gary Lowe, at the time, he were at Sheffield. He were like a god there. So he'd come to the hotel if anyone needed anything, he'd sort it. He were the man. Menzieri at the time, he'd been, that was the previous time, but he were a PNG legend. So yeah, then we went to Perth, played Wales. So we lost in PNG. I think we were about 2 or 4 points. We'd lost. If we'd have won that game, won Wales, we'd have played England in Brisbane. But unfortunately, we lost to PNG. So you had to win all 3 games in our pool to go through.
I mean, you had like a bit of a shitty draw as well, didn't you?
Yeah, PNG. And when we got invited to the president's house, and they were laughing, and he basically went, you won't win. We've put too much money into this. You won't win. Oh, wow. But yeah, that stadium, they'd built that stadium for the World Cup. Ice machines, there were everything you could have ever thought of in this unbelievable stadium. But people out on the streets. Mad. Right. And that's the first time I've ever seen beetle nut. Have you heard of beetle nut? No, it's like this. Well, I guess it's a nut, but it's like a proper little red thing. So what they do, they have like a little bit of bamboo shoot, and and then they've got a bag of like crushed up shell, lime. So they wet the stick, put it wet the beetle nut, put it in the powder, and chew it, and it gives you a high. But you spit and you spit red. It gives you a bit of a high. But everyone over there's chewing it. All the streets are red, of just spit everywhere. Everyone's teeth are red and ground down because of the lime. And so the lime to stop the infection, the shells to cut your gums a bit so the beetle nut goes in.
All right.
So I was like, yeah, different.
It's a mad dip that, isn't it?
Oh, mate. Imagine getting on in that, but I was laughing my head off. So it's disrespectful to not accept stuff. And this guy offered it to Mark Aston on stage. And Mark Aston was like, I'm not having that. And he said to this Irish kid, he'd like one of the domestic players, he went, if you don't take that off of him, you'll never play for Ireland. This kid's dabbing and having this beetle nut, spitting this red stuff all over the shop. And he said, he got back to the hotel, he goes, I've got the worst headache. He's about 3 hours. He said, my head's pounding. So he just giggling to himself.
Used it as a demo.
Oh, mate. This kid, his head, he said, my head were pounding for about 3 hours solid. He said, he goes, there's no high, it's just headache. So, yeah, Tubby got out of that one as well. He didn't have that, no beetle nut. But, yeah, we went to Wales in Perth. Perth, unbelievable place. Real nice place. Quite Britishy place. And then we beat Wales there, but unfortunately, that was the end of our trip because we didn't beat P&G, so we came home. But, yeah, then I came back, and that's what triggered the big contract. Huddersfield. So when I got back, my phone were red hot. Brett White were calling me. There's a deal here from Canberra. They'd like you. I think I already had like a deal or two left at Huddersfield, a year or two. Another agent, so Ian Tibbett had worked with another agent. I can't even remember his name. He was big over in Manchester. His brother did all the TV stuff for Sky. And he were like, right, Wigan are interested. And I, what do you mean? He goes, well, Wigan are interested in you. And I had only found out after Wigan had been at a conference and asked Huddersfield how much they wanted for me. They'd be interested. Huddersfield basically said, listen, we're not losing you. And I signed, I think, a 5 or 6 year deal. Signed with them. And I think you get a bit complacent. I probably got a bit lazy. I thought I'm secure. I've got 5 or 6 years under my belt now. I'm settled. There's no more World Cups coming up. There's nothing I just need to play rugby. Probably performance dipped a bit. Simon Wolford came over because, of course, he was part of Canberra. He'd been at Newcastle. I didn't know that Newcastle were interested in signing me as well. So he pulled me. He went, mate, you had an unbelievable World Cup. Because I watched some of your Huddersfield games. You've been terrible. He went, and you didn't go to Australia. You turned down Australia, so you took the easier route. You're lazy. And I went, well, no, I'm just not signing Australia. I don't want to. I love my family. I love being at home. And he went, I remember him saying, he goes, I'd leave my wife if I had to for rugby. And well, that's where me and you were different. I said, I'd quit rugby right now and I'd walk out of the room for my family. So I'm not asked. And I think that burnt the bridge between us, to be fair. I didn't see eye to eye.
Honestly did, yeah.
Yeah, didn't see eye to eye. I think the me saying I wouldn't go to Australia, not for me. I'd rather be here. Kind of burn it with him. So
what's going on, Polly? Sorry to interrupt, mate. Like it weren't on every week. Like Brisbane were on every now and then. Like,
yeah.
It was a dream, mate, was it?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't for me. I wouldn't have gone
in our face. Yeah.
No, I wouldn't. And don't get me wrong, there were people that had been and gone. And when Canberra offered me the deal, because I think John Bateman at the time were there. So they had taken a couple of English players, and Smelly were there and stuff. And I were a bit like, well, I wouldn't leave my family like it. I probably, looking back, should I have gone? I don't know. Maybe I should have backed myself. Mark Aston hammers me for not going. He said you should have gone to Australia when the deal from Canberra.
You don't miss, do you?
No. If I don't, listen, I don't know what happened. It could have gone one way or other, but I know what I am today for not going. And that's what it is. That kind of burnt our bridge. And then there were an inkling. I remember being at training one day and someone had said, are you going to Salford? I went, am I? I don't think I am. And he went, yeah, that game caller on Twitter just said you're going to Salford.
He's mad, isn't he?
Oh, mate. So I rung him. I rung my agent. I said, "Am I going to Salford?" He went, "Well, not that I know of." And I'm like, "Well, why is he putting this out?" He goes, "I don't know. I'll ring him and ask him." And he goes, "Oh, it's just a rumour that he's been hearing." I said, "All right, well, I'm not." So I thought nothing of it. So I played at Halifax. So we were dual reg with Halifax then.
Do you agree with that system, mate?
The dual reg stuff, yeah, to an extent. But then again, you fall into the category of lads that are working day and night and then coming to play the Championship rugby to make a living from maybe win pay, and then they get dropped, don't get win pay, but some Super League lad that don't go out during the day has come and taken your spot. So it's a difficult one. It helps clubs that don't have the money. So like, Halifax now that have really spinned out the team, they'll probably take a few on loan from Warrington, but I know the dual ready with Keighley. So it'll benefit some clubs in some aspects, but then taking other lads' spots in other aspects is a tough one. It's a tough one. I think the vision was like the NRL vision, where they had like a feeder club, a Q Cup team.
Well, that's how it come across, wasn't it?
Yeah. They'd all play on the same system, but like I kind of debunked it. I said, right, okay, Huddersfield play this way. You're sending me to Halifax, and they're going to play this way. They don't do any of the same players, Huddersfield. They're all different names. There's not. So when I come back to play Huddersfield, it's completely different. They're like, oh yeah, but it's just game time. It's game time against men and one. I say, all right, fine, whatever, fair enough. Yeah. So I'd gone, played at Halifax, side grips with the head coach at the time. We'd actually played against Sheffield. It was first game at season. And I scored the winning try against Mark Aston. He absolutely hammered me in pub after he invited me down to the pub. He absolutely hammered me. Everything since World Cup, he'd call me every couple of weeks. How's it going? Yeah. And he'd give me advice about what to do with rugby and when it wasn't going well at Huddersfield and stuff. And played at Halifax. Got man at match. So I got invited upstairs for talk.
Do you mind doing that, mate? Like the corporate stuff?
No, love it. I can talk for England. I can reel whatever you want off. But yeah, I enjoyed it. And Pete Emmett said to me, so what do you reckon to the Salford move then? How do you reckon that's going to go down? I went, what are you on about? He went, oh, it's on Twitter that you're going to Salford. I think Salford have just put a statement out that you're bringing you in on loan for a year. I went, am I? And he started laughing and he was like, what, do you not know? I went, no. So I checked my phone after the game and Richard Fulis texted me saying, man at match, mate, well done for winning game for Halifax. And he was director of it thing. So I got to training next day. I'd still not heard out about Salford, not called my agent. I got there and Jerome walked across the gym, Simon Wolford. He was like, oh, how about game yesterday? I said, listen, let's not talk about the game. I said, let's talk about me going to Salford. I said, what's going on? Oh, that's not to do with me. That's not to do with me. But if you want to go, you can go play there and get some game time and whatnot. I went, well, I wasn't going 2 days ago, and now I can go and get game time if I want. Yeah, listen, mate. Yeah. I said, whatever. So then that kind of sealed it for me. If the option were there to going, I was going. So literally about 24 hours after, I think, I rung my agent. I said, mate, am I going to Salford? He went, well, let me dig deeper into this and whatnot. And I think Ian Watson had been trying to get me to go. Okay. So yeah, I agreed to go. So I spoke to Wall, went over and met Ian Blees, met Ian Watson, and agreed to do a year-long loan at Salford. And they just went and started playing. Loved it. Really enjoyed it. There were some good characters there. Kev Brown, Lee Mossop, Flash were there, Tyrell McCarthy. Some real good fellas. Sebastian Ifrico that were at Huddersfield. He was over there at the time. Paulie. So some real good fellas. I really enjoyed it. So I did a year on loan there, and then I had about 3/4 of the way for the year. I agreed to stay for the second year. At this point, Simon Wolford had then just got sacked. We were on our Mad Monday. Then Ian Watson had agreed to go to Huddersfield. So I'm like, hey, what is going on here? So he's gone back to where I've just come from. I've just agreed to stay because easy, and he's backdoored it and gone. So I'm like, what's going on here? And then Luke Yates were like, oh, in my contract I can go because my coach has gone. So he went to Huddersfield as well. So I'm like, whoa, what's just happened here? But like, I've already signed for a year, so I might as well ride it out at Salford for 1 more year. And then I'll go back to Huddersfield after that because my contract was forever. So I've got time to play with, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Then they brought in Richard Marshall at Salford, and a different character. different character. His philosophies and his different ways of acting and stuff like that. He was just a different type of guy. And again, I don't think I've really seen not that I didn't see eye to eye, we just didn't really get. I don't think he got on with many lads because, of course, his time at Salford didn't last long. I think he were gone.
No.
Within that 12 month or whatever him being there. But yeah, I ran in out playing a bit.
Was it nice to be back, though, Ollie?
At Salford? Yeah, when I first went back, when Watto were there, it was lovely and it was a good environment and going back and whatnot. But then that was the year COVID as well. So that was weird. So no one even knew what COVID was. They were at training, people were going down pulling. I remember being sat with Kev Brown in Catalan and it was just coming up news that COVID was like a bit of a thing. And we're sat with Club Doctor. And I think he was like some sort of pretty decent job in Manchester Hospital. And he's going, Kev's going, what is this COVID like? What's going to happen with this COVID? Like, they're talking about it in China. It's going to come to England. And our Club Doctor sat there with a glass of red wine going, listen, we've got the NHS. It's the best thing since sliced bread. It's a scare tactic. Kev Brown absolutely hammered him from there on out moving forward. About 4 weeks later, the full club shut down. England went into lockdown. No one's seen anyone for 6 months, and we're texting doctor going, has it blown over yet, pal?
That red wine was strong, mate, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, listen, it got to him. But yeah, we were at training one day, and everywhere we're just shutting down. Everywhere we're just getting closed down. And everyone were like, what are we doing? Like, is it going to kill us? Are we going to take it home and kill our family? Like, what do we do? And I think Kev Brown went, listen, I tell you what we do. We're all going home. If you want to train, train. If you don't, you go home. And we'll go from there. We went home, and then from there on out, I think we had like a good number of weeks where it just fully shut down. Didn't do anything. But of course, Watto loved training. No one stopped training. Greg Brown with the S&C, and he used to do Zoom meetings. I went in garden. My next door neighbour, there were a brown patch in my garden from doing burpees. My neighbour used to sit in garden watching me doing. He goes, what are you doing? My phone's outside and I'm just doing burpees in garden. There were like 400 burpees into lengths at garden, bear crawling around garden. I'm like, mate, I wish COVID would get me. I'm like, what's going on here?
Breather.
Oh, mate, yeah. So there were some of the hardest workouts I've ever done in my entire life sent through to me on Teams. I've never done all like it. But again, it were a chapter in my life that I've lived and it were interesting. Going on furlough, they're not the best. I think we took like 40% pay cuts to go on furlough, and everyone were like, "Oh, this is disgusting." And then clubs were signing players. I'm like, hold on a minute, I'm on a pay cut, but you've just agreed to sign someone, so you're not running out of money. What's going on here? Yeah. So yeah, that was weird, and I think all players were in the same boat. All clubs were doing it, so it kind of it was what it was. So. We're interested. So, yeah, done a year at Richard Marshall. Like, man, I'm not staying with him. And he got sacked anyway. I said, I'm going back to Huddersfield.
Yeah.
So I'd gone back to Huddersfield and Watto with the coach at Huddersfield. He welcomed me back. I'd been there. Again, I'd been in and out playing at Salford at that last year. And again, were I enjoying rugby? No. I was like, I could take it or leave it. Money were keeping me there. Yeah. The love for it had dwindled away, really. I'm like, I'm not fussed for this. So then I were at Huddersfield and whatnot, playing. And me agent and whatnot, I was just like, mate, you've not done much for me. To be fair to me, he couldn't have done much for me. I wasn't playing the best. So like my uncle would say, you've got the best horse in the arena and it's killing it. Anyone could sell it. Someone that doesn't know about rugby or horses could sell it. But you bring in someone that's a bit has been up and down. You try to sell someone that's tough. It's a big ask. So Kev Brown had just started becoming an agent, and he was touting me saying, listen, I know you were at Huddersfield and whatnot, but what do you reckon if we could get you out of Huddersfield and at Newcastle? They've got something serious going on up there. The owner has got this unbelievable gig. He's going to go full-time. They're going full-time. Dennis Betts is up there. Eamon O'Carroll went, it's a no-brainer. It's going to take off. So, all right. Thought nothing of it. So, like, I can't leave my agent. He went, well, you've got to leave your agent to come with me to get this deal sorted, really. You ain't going to be able to do what I can do for you. Yeah. I remember ringing my agent and having this awkward conversation. And listen, I think we've got to a certain point now I'm grateful for everything you've done for me, but I think we need to part ways. And he was devastated, to be fair, but I think he understood. He had a lot of players at the time. He wasn't really in touch with me because he had a lot of other stuff going on. Some young lads like Morgan Smithers that were coming through at Wigan and Australian deals. So it's not easy trying to keep tabs on that many players. So yeah, I'd gone to Kev, basically arranged for me to leave Huddersfield, spoke to Watto, I said I can't turn down this, they're going to get a 2-year deal at Newcastle and this is what I'm going to do. And he was like, I don't really want you to go. If we're going to offer you, we're going to offer you a pay cut to stay. I went, well, truthfully, I hate rugby. I'm not enjoying it, so I might as well go up there and try and get a bit of a fresh start, and I'm getting just as much as what I am here up there. So why would I take a pay cut? So I had agreed this 2-year deal to go up to Newcastle, drive up with boys, met Dennis Betts. What an unbelievable fella. Dennis is like really got a good time for him. Met Freddie. So yeah, I got there, got to training. Thought, mate, same place as rugby union train. We had our own chefs. I was like, mate, I've been at Super League clubs and not had chefs. The owner of the club gave me an apartment in the town centre where the other boys lived in the uni stuff. So I had somewhere to live and stay. Then I'd come home on a couple of days and go back up. I was like, you know, it's not handy, but the money's good and it's more rugby for another 2 years security. So like, all right, sound. Got there on first day, big meeting going on. I thought, they're going to welcome me. Get there, shake Freddie's hand. I hope Freddie, I've been speaking to him for a couple of weeks to get it done. He went, yeah. He goes, I'm done, me, Ollie. I went, you what? I went, I've just got here. Literally just got here today. He went, yeah, I've got an opportunity to go back to Catalan. So yeah, I'm out, mate. I'm like, what? So he'd quit as I just got there.
Yeah.
Dennis Betts took over, which were unbelievable, to be fair. So yeah, joined Newcastle. I joined through part of the year, so I started playing a couple of games and whatnot. And it was just a bit of a weird atmosphere. Like there were no fans, there were nothing going on, and there were like no real progress. It was weird. So then Kev Brown texted me one day saying, "Oh mate, have you heard out about the club? How's everything going?" I thought, why have you texted me at 8:30 at night? How's everything heard out about the club? All right, why have you texted me? So then I'm quite clued on. I didn't say what 20 other lads, I didn't want to get them scared, but I thought, Eamon's gone. Dennis hadn't said out, been a bit weird. And I had some conversations with him, and then Kev's texted me this. I thought, nah. In the morning, we got to training. Dennis pulled us, boys, we need to have a meeting. I thought, oh, no, here we go.
Yeah.
Sat down. The club's in so much debt. The owner's pulling out all his money. He can't afford to run the rugby union and the rugby league. This is what he's going to be doing. We need players to take pay cuts and go. Oh, like, what Walker? I just had a 2-year deal. You're meant to walk away. Like, oh, you're probably by far the highest paid. You probably would be the one that needs to walk away. I went, yeah, no chance. No, Andy. And Dennis were like, mate, ride it out. He goes, you've got your deal. Nothing they can do. Forget about it. Started playing. I think there were about 3 or 4 games to go before end of year. I can't even remember what team we were playing. It could have been actually Widnes we were playing up at Newcastle. I'd made a break and I heard this like a gun had gone off, bang, and I just dropped to the floor, like my leg just locked out. I'm like, what was that? Offloaded ball. I tried to stand up, I can't stand up. Like I'm in agony, but I don't know. It just feels weird. So I come off, go around to see physio, and they're like, oh, it's your hammy. Just tape it up, ice it up, you're done. You can't go back on. Like, all right, sound. Thought nothing. I thought I just tore my hammy. But it was a bad tear. I thought this is just a bit weird.
Yeah.
Thought note of it. Gone home that night, and I was sat and I was like feeling my hamstring. I'm like, this just doesn't feel right. This like my left ham is massive. My left arm's just not there. You just feel like it's not there. So I rung physio at this other club and I told him what I'd done. With the old Salford physio, and he talked a load of gibberish to me. Basically said, you need an MRI scan. Go get an MRI scan. So I'd gone and got this MRI scan. I got Newcastle to pay for it. Went and had an MRI scan. Dennis pushed for it. MRI scan came back and it said a grade 2 tear on this muscle that I've got. And I was like, I don't know. So I sent it through to Rob, and Rob read it all and whatnot. He went, Ollie, he goes, I can't see you because you're about 5 hours away from me. But from reading that, he goes, I'd probably get a specialist opinion because if you tear a muscle in there called your bicep fem, it's bad. I went, all right, sound. I'll put it to the physio at Sheffield, at Newcastle. So I'm talking to the physio at Newcastle. He goes, no, you can't have done that. He went, it won't be that. I said, I'm feeling it back in my head going, mate, Miami's not there. I said, it's not. Don't feel like it's there. He went, no. What we'll do is we'll jog with it and we'll put a complex on it and we'll get blood flowing. I went, no, we won't. I said, I'm not jogging anyway. I can't walk. He went, yeah, but your ham's just switched off. I went, mate, it's not switched off. It's not there. So I went, mate, get me an appointment with a specialist. So at this time, Rob's texted me through, and this other football physio has texted me through. Like, this guy goes, if you want the dog's bollocks, this is your guy you want. Farasadad, this guy in London. So I sent this over to physio, sent it over to Newcastle. I said, book me in with this guy ASAP. And I rung Dennis. I said, Dennis, I need a professional opinion. I said, that guy at Newcastle, I said, I don't think he knows his ass for his elbow. I said, Miami's not there. So they book it. I get trained down to London, go to Marylebone, London. I've never seen hospitals. I don't like it, like plastic surgeon hospitals, glass fronts, mate. They're like chaperone me. I've never seen anything like it. Get upstairs to see this surgeon. I've already sent him my MRI scan. So my MRI scan said a 2C tear, which is basically 2 is the length, C is the thickness and so on of the muscle.
Right.
So I'm like, all right. I said, so I've got this 2C tear, and I see him smirking and laughing. He went, right, tell me what you're feeling. And I told him, I said, I can't feel anything. I can't tense. I said, it's just something's turned off somewhere. So he gets on bed, turns me over. He went, do you have a physio at Newcastle? I went, yeah. I said, he booked all this for me. He went, you've snapped your bicep fem. It's not there. It's gone. What do you mean it's gone? He went, yeah, it's shot to your arse cheek. He went,
I was going to say, but it's in your arse cheek, yeah.
He goes, it's in your arse cheek. I went, what do you mean? And he went, that MRI scan. He goes, they've told you you've got 2C tear in a muscle that's not there. He goes, I don't get it. So they've scanned my hamstring. That muscle that they said I'd got 2C tearing was not there. It was up in my arse cheek.
Yeah.
Fully gone. So yeah, usually you tear it up at your bum and it goes down. Right. There's only 2 professional people that's tore it from the back of the knee, me and Harry Kane. And right. Surgeon basically went, I bet Harry Kane don't know who second person is, does he?
He will want to tweet him.
I was laughing my head off. And he goes, listen, you need surgery. He goes, I'm off on holiday next week. He goes, you need surgery to bring that back down and reattach it. He went, or else you'll never play again. He goes, you won't be able to walk, never mind anything else. I went, all right, sound.
It just shows you've got to, you know yourself though while you've done it.
Yeah, you know your body. You know, and after being in sport that long, you know your niggles and you know something's just not right. So I'd rung Newcastle, said, right, this is this. So he's going to send over what I need doing. But I said, I need surgery. And they were like, well, we've got no money. And I'm like, oh my God, they're going to go bust. I've got one leg. I'm never playing rugby again. So I kind of lost my head and I rung club. I said, listen, at a player welfare, if you've got anything about you, this needs sorting. Yeah, so I thought, a couple of grand, they'll get it done. 12 grand. It cost them 12 grand. They paid it fair play to them. And like I said, I'm
not playing for them though, mate, didn't you?
Yeah, I employed. Like I said, it was one of them things. They paid it. So I went back down to London, had the surgery, they paid for hotel, I stayed over. So to be fair to them, true to the word, they fixed me. I had the surgery and whatnot. And I just said, listen, I can't get back up there to Newcastle. I'm not coming back. I'm grateful. I said, we'll sort out what we need to sort out. But I said, I'm not coming back up there to do physio because, one, your physio don't know what day it is. Yeah. So luckily, a football physio called Will Carlos, a lad from Huddersfield, he was part of the Huddersfield system. Unbelievable physio, basically reprogrammed and brought me back to health. He fixed me. Without him, I'd have been absolutely lost. He rehab programmed me from start to finish, give me all the stuff. He used to come spend time on his day off in the gym with me and do stuff with me to get me back to full health. So I owe massive thanks to Will. He really did. He sorted me out. And at this time, I was speaking to Mark Aston like I do all the time, and he spoke to me. And that's how the Sheffield gig came about. He went, listen, we've got an owner. He's got big dreams. he's willing. I went, listen, don't start this. I said, I've had this shit. I said, I've had it. I've just had it in Newcastle. I've snapped my hamstring. I said, I'm not coming from one side of the country to the other side of the country now for this. And he goes, listen, would I lie to you, son? I want you here with me. Come down to Dad. I'm like, all right, come on then. So I went and met him, had some food and whatnot. And to be fair, Jeremy, the guy that owns Sheffield, I know he's had a tough gig go on in a minute, but he's true to his word. He's a good fella. He's put some money into the club. He's building a new stadium. So he's bought Sheffield's oldest football club as well. So I know the Sheffield Wednesday, the two Sheffield clubs, but he's bought the Amateur, the oldest football club in England. There's about 10 clubs that claim it, but he's got the Sheffield one, and he's going to merge them together. So they're going to have one big stadium, and he's going to run both clubs out of that. So that's his plans. He's got big dreams for Sheffield. So I'm into my third year there, but I've absolutely loved my time at Sheffield. I know we've had the bit of disrepute that's gone on with Mark and the previous stuff and the band, but I know a statement come out today where he's going to take a different role in the club.
Mate, I'll be honest, I've spoken to a few people that have been involved with Sheffield, and it's only ever good word about Mark.
Mate, he's an unbelievable fella. Unbelievable fella. And of course, he's got some good people around him. Simon Brown, ex-player that's his assistant. Mate, he's an absolute legend of a bloke. I can never say nothing bad about him. He's a bit like a dad.
No one does, mate. Yeah.
So ever since my full career, went to met Mark playing rugby. He's just been in the background, ring me every couple of days. What are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing? He kept in touch with me all my life. Come for food. This is what I'm doing. What do you reckon to this play? He was asking me about players and stuff when I was still playing Super League, or I'd send kids to him and he'd listen to me. I've told him a couple of players that he'd signed. So Tyler Dickinson, we're going to go to Bradford. I said, mate, get him at Sheffield. Game at Sheffield is unbelievable. And he did. And Tyler's absolutely killing it at Sheffield now, and Mark loves him. But yeah, so when I decided to come back from Newcastle, I then was like, right, well, I've been volunteering all my life as doing this. Well, I need to get a job as it now. So let's get into the real world. An ex-rugby player, Byron Smith, that played at Batley, played at Siddal, owns Restorative Social Care Services that's in Halifax and Huddersfield and Bradford now, which is, again, a children's home and different setting. And I seen he'd post on Facebook that he had a job as an outreach worker in Huddersfield doing what I'd done, but on outreach side. So the kids lived in their own house. I'd go see them and support them.
Okay.
Got into that line of work. So I started working for Byron. My job, I think 12 of the young kids that I used to support, I think 9 of them were UAS young kids. So that's young kids that have come from overseas. So they've fled countries, come to England for asylum and support. And hearing some of their stories, wow, like some of them 12 months to get here. I know you see a lot of stuff in the news where people like stop people coming into the country, stop this, our hotels and stuff. I get it, it's tough, but it's not as tough as what they've been through. Like some of the stuff, some of the stories, some of the kids would tell me, and I'd just sit there streaming in tears. Some of them hadn't seen or spoke to the mums of the family. They don't even know if the family are alive. They don't even know if the mum's alive. They're in a different country. They can't contact. No such thing as Facebook and stuff where they've come from. They don't know. They don't know. One that broke me out, but a bit of a good one. A lad came over from Eritrea, if I'm saying it right. We couldn't find anyone that spoke Eritrea in Huddersfield. Couldn't find anyone. Usually I've got connections everywhere. Not in Eritrea. Yeah. Can't get anyone from there. So we'd gone over to Manchester to have some food one day, and I'd taken a load of kids with me to Manchester. And we're walking up this street, and I'm talking to all lads, and he's really broken English. And I've got my arm around, having a laugh and a joke, and we're going somewhere. And he just jams on. He just stops, and I could hear him, and he'd heard someone speak Eritrea. So these group of lads had walked past us, and he just watched them walk, and I was like, all right then. So I'd run down the street, stop these group of lads. They must have thought, what is this big dope doing? I said, boys, you from Eritrea? And luckily one of them spoke quite decent English. He went, yeah, like from Eritrea. I said, listen, I've got this young kid. He's, bless him, just come over from this country. He's not spoke to anybody. He's got nobody. Can you help me? And luckily they were part of a church, and this lad said, yeah, right, he's coming with me. I said, right, I'm here for another 2 hours. I'll stay in Manchester for 2 hours, take him here. So he was buzzing. He went with these lads. I basically just give this kid away to some strangers. So you speak same language, he needs a bit of help and guidance. I give this guy my number, he texts me, sent me his location. I said, leave your sharing pin on your phone, let me know where you are. And he went, and mate, I've never seen him so happy in my entire life. They bought him a couple of drinks, we were talking. They just made friends. And that day on, he used to get a train from Huddersfield over to Manchester and meet these group of guys, and they really took him in, brought him into their religion and the church, and just blossomed a relationship. And he'd found himself a community. Just passing some guys in the street, and he didn't want to speak to them. I thought, well, if he's not, I'm going to have to do it. So I just flagged a group of lads down and said, can you help me? And they did. And he was just so grateful, so grateful from that. And just little things like that are just such little wins in life. Like it's no...
Yeah, no, that's not stuff.
Yeah, me stopping a lad going, here, you won't mind doing this. And it meant the world to me. He'd found a community, he'd found some friends. They took him in. And I think that helped his transition to be in England and stuff. So yeah, we're doing that. I did that for 6 months, passed my probation, done it all. I was like, oh, this is life, isn't it? I'm working and whatnot. So I'd gone to the coffee shop across road, and one of my old sponsors, Michael Smith, he owns some schools called Pivot. And he knew what I'd been doing in the background and stuff. And he went, oh, Ollie, what are you doing? How's time since leaving Huddersfield and whatnot? I said, yeah, good. He went, I always want to pull you. He goes, would you ever come work for me? Because I know you got all your working with children. He goes, you know my schools are all behavioural schools and stuff. I was like, you know what, Michael? No, mate, I hated school as it is. I don't want to go work in one. And he went, no, it's different. It's different. I said, it's not different, mate. He said, come have a look. So I even told Michael, he said, he's watching it, he'll see it. So the first day he goes, I'll meet me at my school. So he sent me an address. I got there. 2 out windows were smashed into school. I'm stood up from that school going, no. So these are some of the children that are in the children's homes that I'd been at previously. This is their education setting. So I know what they're like at home. I know they're 40 times worse at school because you can get away with it.
Right.
So I was like, no. So caretaker comes out, he goes, can I help you? What are you doing here? Are you out to do with these windows? I'm like, oh, mate, I'm here to meet Michael. He went, no, what for? I went, well, I think he's trying to get me a job, but I don't know. He could be showing me around. He's just mad, Michael. And he went, hey, you don't want a job here, pal. It's carnage. But then he kind of went,
what you really think, mate.
Yeah, he went, I don't want a job here, mate. It's absolute carnage. And I went, what do you mean? He went, no, kids do this. He goes, teachers get flogged. You name it. It's full on. He went, do you know what, though? You're pretty big. He went, you part at rugby a lot then? And I'm like, yeah, I played at Huddersfield and Michael and stuff. He went, hey, you might scare him. So you might be, I didn't get you here, to be fair. I said, mate, I'm not a toy. I said, I'm not coming here to this. So Michael pulls in car back. He went, here, don't tell him I said any of that, will you? I went, no, you're not. So yeah, met Michael, looked around the school. I went, Michael, no, mate. I said, I hated school as it was. I've got my team teach. So that's restraining the kids. I said, I've never, ever had to use that in my life. I said, I'm not coming here to restrain and keep kids safe. I said, it's tough. It's tough. And he goes, so you don't restrain them much. There's hardly much of it. He goes, I think you'd be an asset to the team. I'm growing the team. This is what I want to do. He goes, well, what are you doing at the minute? I said, I'm doing outreach. I said, I'm helping these kids. He goes, what do you mean outreach? I said, what? Don't you do outreach? He went, well, no. He goes, I've just got 2 school sites. I went, you need outreach? And he went, no, I don't. I went, well, you might do. I said, do you have any kids that don't come to school? He went, yeah, all the time. I went, yeah, I'll go get them and come then. He went, this isn't a bad idea, this. I said, there's a lot of kids out there that are not in education that need some form of education. And a bit like myself, going to school isn't always the way forward. Yeah. And he went, right, let me talk to other directors. I'll throw an idea together. I said, yeah, no worries. So I'd gone away, thought nothing of it, gone back to work at Restorative, and I thought, what a waste that was. I said, I've told Michael all this stuff, and he's just kind of brushed me. I've heard no note from him and nothing. he texted me 2 weeks before September break. He went, "Hey, Polly, we go back in September. I started that program that you talked to me about. You'll be the first person to run it. Are you in?" And I was like, "What?" He went, "Yeah, well, do you want to start?" I went, and I thought about it, and I thought, I'm comfortable where I am at the minute, but I want to challenge myself. Like, this is a new chapter. This is something new. I can help start it. And I thought, you know what? You've backed me and started something I spoke about. I'm going to back you. So I spoke to Byron, and Byron was like, "Listen, Ollie," he goes, "it's an unbelievable opportunity." He went, "Go do it. If you ever want to come back, there's always a spot here for you. We love you." So I text Michael. I said, "Michael, I'm in. I'm done. You've bought into me. I'm buying into you. Next thing's wages." And to be fair to him, true to his word, he goes, "Text me, what do you want?" And I was quite reasonable, and he just said, "Done." He said, "Done."
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah. So I'd gone to him. I was the first person there. Turned up, and they went, "Right, we've got these 6 kids that are registered." And this was 12 months ago. We've now got a team of 12 staff and 26 kids. And growing.
Well done, mate. Bloody hell.
And growing, yeah. So we're branching into Wakefield. There's just so many kids that really struggle with education and being in stuff. And I was in their shoes.
Yeah.
I hated school, didn't like school, bad dyslexia, can't read and write, can't learn. But there's other ways of learning. I'll take them into real world situations. I had a young girl that wouldn't leave her house. She hadn't left her house for 2 years. I had 9 months with her. I got her into full-time school. She's now blossoming in education. She's in post-16. She's leaving her house. She's doing everything.
And that was one of your targets, that one change, mate, wasn't it?
Yeah, just make a difference to these kids' lives and be as positive as possible. And I think having the connections with Huddersfield, like Leroy's come and volunteered and done some work. Jermaine's going to get on board and stuff. Joel Farrell, that we're at Sheffield, left Yorkshire Water and joined our team. Just because they're such good role models, and rugby league players don't understand how good that the traits of rugby league carry over into work. The dedication,
highly transferable, mate. Yeah.
So, yeah, if you're half an hour early, you're on time. If you're 15 minutes early, you're late.
Yeah.
That's why I always got drilled into. So my manager's gobsmacked because you're at work every morning, like half an hour or an hour before you need to be. I said, "You, that's just normal, isn't it?" Like, she went, "No, people rocking 10 minutes late, 15 minutes late on time." I said, "I can't do that." I said, "It'd fry my head." I said, "All my work's done, all my planning's done. My team runs a tight ship because I'm used to it at rugby." Yeah. And she goes, "You just brilliant." So Michael pulled me and went, "Where do you want to go from here?" I said, "I just want to progress. I just want to be as good as I can. I want to be the best I can." He went, "You tell me what course or qualification will get you that." So I chose my level 5. So I've done my level 3 many, many years ago. I've now picked my level 5. So it took me about 9 months. It's an 18-month course. And I boxed it off in 9 months. I went solid at it. I booked in every week, telephone call with the lady, and I booked off in 9 months. So I now got my level 5 leadership and management in children's homes and young children and adults. And then that's where Bradford Council contacted myself and John and said, "Would you be interested in a children's home and stuff?" So that's not progressed yet. That's in the back burner. It's a very, very slow thing because there's a lot of Ofsted stuff. There's a lot of regulations. But in the future, I will look at opening a children's home to give back to the local area of Bradford because I came through Bradford. I live in Brighouse. I'm not far away. There's a lot of kids that have been moved out of area because we can't house them in Bradford, maybe to a risk to themselves or risk to others, that they want to try and bring back to Bradford so they can be local to family. I'm going to try and facilitate that when I can get everything in order. But yeah,
it's outstanding, that, mate.
So that's where I'm at. So yeah, I'm currently working at Pivot, doing the outreach program. I was one of the first staff there, and I'm loving it, really enjoying it, and enjoying where I'm at the minute in life.
Oh, brilliant, mate. That's mega impressive, by the way. And that's the full circle you touched on before, isn't it? That your personal development, rugby's been a part of it, and the people you're getting involved all represent your relationship with them because that's the type of bloke you are.
Yeah, and I think you kind of like, I am a bit of a social butterfly. I can get on with anyone. And I think like my manager at work and whatnot kind of says the same to you. You've come in, you've got no background in this. She goes, "I know you really struggle with your reading and writing," but she goes, "You can't see it because you work that hard." She goes, "It's just not visible." And she goes, "What you do," she goes, "the parents love you. The parents come in and like, "Oh, I don't want to really talk to you. Where's Ollie? If there's an issue, they'll ring me. Ollie, can you sort this?" just because I've got such a good relationship with the parents and the young people, and just try and make a difference. And they know, like I know some of my bad days, they'll come in, they'll tear place upside down. But I'll be the first one to back them and fight at the corner. I'm like, listen, I get why you've done it. Now what do we do to rectify it? There's always a positive in the negative, and how we get that out of them. It works different for each young person. There might be 10 negatives before I get that one breakthrough. But once I get that one breakthrough, I'm done. I'm in. And I'll change that young person the best I can before moving them on and supporting them in life.
Right. For one, because you're the top bloke. For two, you're relatable, mate, and you don't pretend to be someone you're not.
No, and I think I'm very down to earth. I'm very humble. Like people, like some of them say, like, "Oh, you played rugby, you've done everything, you've got bits and bats." And like, I'm no better than anyone else. Like, I live and breathe. I said rugby can come and go. I said some people don't even watch rugby. So I'm just a normal human being, and I'll do my best to make a difference. That's all I can do.
Yeah, and you're definitely doing that, mate. Got some daft questions for you because I'm dominating you tonight, mate. I'm sorry.
No, I'm fine away.
Any pre-match superstitions, dude?
I do. So my granny and granddad are proper Irish Catholics.
Right.
So their favourite Irish Catholic saint is a guy called Saint Padre Pio. So I've got him. I'll show you. I've got him tattooed on my arm here. So before every game, I go out. So it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But I've got to do it 3 times.
Okay.
Don't know why. And then after that, go to war. I could turn up to a game with just my gum shield so I don't get my nice teeth knocked out and a pair of boots. But as long as I do that before a game, it doesn't matter.
No, we're going to bring the teeth up, but they are impressive.
Yeah. They're not real. There's 10 top, 10 bottom fakies. Again, it's who you know and what you know. My good friend at Huddersfield, one of the sponsors, he owns a medical sales company, and he linked me with a dentist in Manchester. So Smile Manchester is where I got my teeth done, and he linked me with them. So I got looked after with that. So yeah.
So Padre Pio is mainly the Irish, because my nan was a travelling Irish lady.
Got you.
Like she come up when she was like a kid in the old school horse and cart and that.
Yeah.
So was that an Irish thing, that? Because, mate, he was everywhere in my nan's.
Yes. So my granny and granddad's house like a shrine. So a bit like, so we're always, again, my family, a bit of an Irish travelling background. That's where it all stems from. My uncle wheeling dealing. We're at Appleby every year. That type of stuff, going up to horse fair and whatnot. So when I say that to some lads at rugby, they go, you go to horse, you go to an horse fair with people, what do you do? Like, why are horses getting washed in water? I'm like, just come and have a look. I'm not going there. But it's just such a different world to more. Some of them need some, or a card's broken, or something were done. My uncle, they'd be sorted, it'd be done. Like, how does this man know everyone? He was just like, that was just the way it is.
Culture, no, definitely, mate. So the next word I'm going to bring up to you, mate, definition different for everybody. But the toughest player you played with and against?
Toughest player I've ever played against were a tough one. Two players, and both because he absolutely walloped me. And I don't know whose fault it was. I think it was my 9's fault. I'm going to blame Adam O'Brien. So each time I'd come on a cross or a 4, so I'd come under the 9 and carried. Gareth Ellis whacked me once, and we both stopped, and it felt like the earth had stopped. I was like, he'd stopped. We were both still standing, whacked each other, and we both kind of like stunned before going into the next bit of like him tackling me. And I was like, wow, that got me. And the other one was Sean O'Loughlin, did the same to me. I'd come on a 4 and not seen him come out of nowhere, and wow. I managed to stay on my feet, but I thought I'd been hit by about 4 houses.
And you don't know.
Everything. Kitchen sink got me.
So your favourite away ground, mate?
Favourite away ground, where I'd probably say Wigan. That atmosphere.
Like the newer ones,
Yeah. That atmosphere, and I remember playing there, and it just like the fans are on top of you. There's a good atmosphere. Of course, the dressing room's good. I've been at Cass and Wakey where you press water thing, and it just trickles down the wall. I'm like splash washing myself, absolutely freezing on a Friday night, splash washing myself with dirty water. So yeah, when you go to Wigan and it's a bit nice, it goes a long way.
Right. Probably already know the answer to this off the chat we've had, mate, but what would you tell a younger you if you could go back?
A younger me? What? Do what you did. Carry on with your mistakes. I've made some mistakes in my life. I've done some daft stuff. I've done some good stuff. But again, it's made me what I am today.
That's what I was expecting, mate.
Yeah. I've done my qualifications. Like I said, I'd say that to any young person. Make sure any young lad going through rugby, you see so much, and I had the attitude myself at the beginning is I've got rugby, I don't need anything else. Why would I need anything else? I've got rugby. You need something because rugby won't last forever. Put everything you can into rugby, but make sure you've got yourself a nice backup plan. And everyone goes, I'm going to buy houses, I'm going to buy this. To buy an house now and be in the property game, you're going to need a lot of money, and you're fighting off a lot of competition,
yeah.
People are downsizing, people are investing, or people are getting on the property ladder. So you're fighting free markets. It's hard. And I'd also pay like a private pension, maybe. As a young kid, you might, what is a private pension? I was like, what is a private pension? No idea.
Yeah.
But once you get into the rabbit hole of it and you learn how much it writes off tax and how much it'll benefit you, because by the time you come of an age, there won't be a pension, state pension. So if you compare into something, and even if it's a little bit, it's better than nothing, because at your rugby clubs in Super League, they don't pay into anything for you. You've just got your now or nest pension, the same as you would at a job company. Your club was paying to a now or nest pension, a percentage of your salary. I recommend that players have got private ones. I know Ewan Downs does a lot of the stuff, and Paul Clough used to do a lot of the stuff as well, of course, that were at Widnes and so on.
Yeah.
Paul Clough used to drill it into me about private pensions, and I'm like, what are you going on about? And then when I discovered a bit and I started doing it, it just opened so many doors for me. So I'd recommend that the earlier you can do it, the better.
Right, mate. And if we're on the lash, mate, and we've had a few, and the microphone ends up in your hand, what you got to give us?
I'm shit at singing.
Mate, we all are, aren't we? I've got to be pissed, and I still hate doing it.
I don't know. Do you know what? I don't think I've ever picked up a microphone while I'm out. I don't think I've ever. Probably some Irish. Probably one at country song, something just easy to just blast out. Everyone joins in with Irish songs, don't they?
I was going to say something you can blend in with and just do the Homer Simpson meme when you back off like that.
Just a Guinness in hand, and then everyone can just take over, and I'll just disappear into the corner.
Right, and if you're willing to, mate, I want a 13 that you played with.
Yes, I will. I'll put you with 17 together because I felt bad on other 4.
Okay.
So my one would be Brett Kearney. He played at Bradford for me at fullback, unbelievable fullback. And then I'd go Ken Seo, played at Salford, absolute workhorse. I'd then go Dan Sargentson. I've never seen a man carry the ball that much in a game. And then it'd have to be the pairing from heaven, Leroy Cudjoe and Jermaine McGilvery. 2 unbelievable players. And of course, played with George Williams at junior England. So he'd be in there. And then I'd have Danny Brough. Of course, played with Bruffy at Huddersfield. And then my props would be Joe Philbin and Liam Byrne. I'd have Mickey Mack at 9, the hardest man I know. And then my 2 back rowers would be John Bateman, Elliot Whitehead, and Ryan Hinchcliffe at 13. And then,
right, thank you very much, mate.
I'll give you my bench. You might as well play my bench. So my bench would be Luke Robinson. What a good guy. Played at Siddal, now head coach of Huddersfield. Jack Hughes, when he came to Huddersfield from Wigan, from that loan, he was probably one of the best players I've ever played with. Brilliant with user. Luke Yates, workhorse. And of course, the man of the people, Akuma Tai. What a fella. Akuma were like God at Huddersfield. I actually still think the man could be God. I've never seen a man go Mad Mondays, not drop a touch of alcohol, stay awake for 3 days, looking after lads, dropping them home like a taxi.
Oh, yeah, like a proper gent, is he?
Mate, like he's God. I think he's God. He just turns up in places. Like he took me under his wing, and when I were at Huddersfield, he used to take me to the gym all the time. I'd meet him on an evening and go to the gym, and I'd get in there. And they like people would worship him. They'd all know him by name. But then if someone were doing bench press and struggling, you just walk over and start spotting them. Oh, thank you, Koom. And I went, what's going on here? You just like God. He just turn up. Do you know when you need someone on a night out or something's happening or something somewhere? And you just look and, Koom is here. It's all right.
He just knew.
Mate, he used to collect all homeless people in Huddersfield after a night out. You'd seen him rounding up the homeless people. And he'd take them to the food place and just buy them all as much chicken as he could. And then he'd just hand it all out to everyone before he went home.